Alright, here we go. Alright, hello and welcome to the 7th episode of the Pointy Hat Cast. I'm your host, Sam, also known as Ducky O'Brien on Twitch, and we are joined today by our co-hosts, our partners in crime, Barry.
Hello, everyone.
And Isaiah.
What's up? What's up?
What's up? Today's episode is on a pretty amazing sci-fi movie. Drumroll, please. I'm hitting my table. Edge of Tomorrow. Yes, the official title is Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow. Now, Edge of Tomorrow was released on June 2014. It was directed by Doug Liman, who also directed The Firstborn, Identity, and apparently Mr. and Mrs. Smith. The script was written by Jess Butterworth, John Henry Butterworth, and Christopher McQuarrie, and it stars Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt as the main protagonists. Currently, as of this podcast, it has a Rotten Tomato score of both 90%. For audience and critics.
Oh wow.
Yes, it's really high. This movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's really high, dude. Movie is an adaptation of the light novel All You Need Is Kill by Hiroshi Sakurazaka. And here's a brief synopsis of the movie from Warner Bros. I'll try my best to read it. Alright. The epic action of Edge of Tomorrow unfolds in the near future, in which an alien race has hit the Earth in an unrelenting assault. Unbeatable by any military unit in the world, Major William Cage, played by Tom Cruise, is an officer who has never seen a day of combat when he is unceremoniously dropped into what amounts to a suicide mission. Not Suicide Squad. Killed within minutes, Cage now finds himself inexplicably thrown into a time loop, forcing him to live out the same brutal combat over and over, fighting and dying again and again. But with each battle, Cage becomes able to engage the adversaries with increasing skill, alongside Special Forces warrior Rita Vatrosky, played by Emily Blunt. And as Cage and Rita take the fight to the aliens, each repeated encounter gets them one step closer to defeating the enemy. There you have it. Now we're just gonna jump into movie thoughts. Barry, do you want to lead us off? Usually you're the most eloquent.
Sure. Okay, this is such a lovely movie that was completely bombed in box offices.
Oh yeah.
I bet it completely bombed. I bet I could guess why, but visually, the visual vocabulary of this movie is absolutely wonderful. They make great use of visual comedy. The action set pieces are really good. This is probably one of my favorite Tom Cruise characters, and I'm really not a fan of Tom Cruise. He actually has an arc and motivation and stuff in this movie, which is amazing. He doesn't have in any of his other movies.
What about Top Gun?
Yeah,
what about Top Gun Tom Cruise?
Whatever. Yeah.
Legend, dude, legend.
Vanilla Sky? Wait.
Vanilla Sky Tom Cruise?
I mean, Vanilla Sky is kind of its own thing, but it feels like a character rather than just Tom Cruise, doing some wish fulfillment movie.
It's like Nick Cage.
Yeah, exactly. And the limited amount of Tom Cruise schmaltz that we get smeared across our faces is acceptable. We get the legendary Tom Cruise motorcycle scene that's contractually obligated in every movie he will ever make.
Yep.
We get removing his helmet for no apparent reason, because he has to show his Tom Cruise face.
Yep.
And then it's just a good movie.
But he has a reason though. The helmet is distracting him, so he has to take it off.
Sure. Sure.
Okay.
I
whatever. I mean, the set design and the costumes, everything is just wonderful in this movie, and I would bet that the reason it panned is that the year before this, Oblivion came out, which was kind of.
It was terrible.
I watched it in theaters. It wasn't bad,
terrible.
but it was.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the other movie, After Earth. Oblivion is pretty decent. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was just really mediocre, and I enjoyed it, but it's a movie that you feel like you might have wasted your time a little bit on. Also including another Tom Cruise motorcycle scene, by the way.
Always.
Wait, was it a space
Always.
motorcycle or?
Yeah, it was a Space Future
Okay,
motorcycle.
that's right.
Which is like,
Space Future motorcycle.
Yes.
yeah, like whereas like an ATV or like a small like motorized vehicle would make more sense in every way. Instead, he's driving a Space Future motorcycle, but it's fine. It's fine. And this movie looked like the trailers looked very visually similar to that movie, and people were like, "Is this a re-release?" I didn't really like that Oblivion movie, and then it just
The color scheme is so different though.
it is, but
Oblivion's like all white.
It's like all
And
all
grays.
white.
yeah,
And
but it was
Wizard
like
Repeat is so
promoted.
dark and grungy.
It was like the promotional stuff was all very similar though.
Yeah,
I
I watched the trailer. I played it on stream,
Oh.
and the trailer doesn't do the movie justice. It looked bad. Like I wouldn't watch the movie based off of the trailer.
It looks like a subpar like action sci-fi movie from the
Yeah,
trailers, and
like a B movie.
It didn't do the movie any favors in the box office. People were like, "What is this? I don't care." And it ends up being one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies. So that's including all of the Mission Impossible movies, honestly.
And Top Gun.
And Top Gun.
And Vanilla Sky. And Jerry Maguire.
Sky.
Oh,
Okay, so in summary, I think it's just a great movie.
Yeah.
A great movie that I would recommend to anybody that enjoys humor, that enjoys sci-fi, that enjoys like well
Action.
thought out action.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wish it's slightly worrying to me that they're making a sequel, but if they put the care into that movie that they clearly put into this movie, then I think it could be good.
Okay. Isaiah, you wanna go next?
Yeah. For me, I kind of watched this movie. I remember on like a whim. I watched it
Me
in
too.
Korea, and I was like, "Wait, this film is freaking amazing!" And I was so taken aback because I literally was bored one day. It was a rainy day in Korea, and I was like, "Oh, that seems like a fun movie," or it's like that seems like an interesting movie, and I just went to go watch it, knowing nothing about the film going in, and yeah, I was just blown away by just what's crazy to me was when I was watching like them doing like interviews and talking about the making of the film itself. Like they had to shoot a lot of those scenes like maybe 20 to 50 times to try and get the beats right from the actors. Because this actor has to be in this exact position at this second for this scene, and you can't do the same shot every time because his expression changes. Like Tom Cruise is the actor that changes in between all these scenes, so all the side actors have to hit their marks perfectly, and that to me was like something I thought was so amazing because that in itself probably made filming like 3 times longer just to be able to do that, and required so much more of the side characters as well.
I imagine they did it by filming everything in blocks. Like every time they had a set piece, they filmed everything sequentially, like for that set piece.
Yeah.
And then threw it together in the edit. But that's like that must have been so challenging from an acting standpoint.
Yeah.
It gives me like infinitely more respect for all of the performances in this movie. Because that's like all the little nuances that you notice that they build up through the movie. Like when you think about it, you're like, man, they did this in the space of probably like 12 hours. Like in a day on a set. You're like, oh man, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, also Canison has a good point. Just gonna throw in real quick. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Born Identity, and Edge of Tomorrow have a female protagonist that goes along with the male main character. I didn't notice that, but yeah, continue on. Sorry.
Oh yeah,
It's a
that
good
is
point.
very true.
It's very true.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, I think that this is one of Tom Cruise's best performances because he's not Yeah, Tom Cruise. Even though I love Top Gun, it's one of my favorite movies. Even though it's kind of a trash movie, but I love it.
Hey, it's
I
one of
love
those
it all the
movies
same.
they're just good, you know.
Why do you think my handle is Iceman? It's because
Yeah.
Top Gun. Top Gun. No one gets that.
People are missing out. Yeah.
People are missing out on a cinematic jewel. But yeah, just the action set pieces as well, I feel like are so well done. And just later on when you see like Tom Cruise's character get much better at fighting, and he's like mastered how to use the suit, you actually see him like zooming around, and all of that is wire work.
I have that.
Right? It's a combination of a couple. They had a bunch of different rigs for the suits. They had a wire rig for when they were running. They had a different rig for when they're like punching, and like every bit has its own little rig and different build for the armor to get it to do what they needed to do, which is obviously pretty challenging.
Yeah.
My question is, what are the suits made out of?
The suits
can't be metal.
It's
way too heavy.
It's actually
right?
85 pounds. That suit weighs 85 pounds, and if you add the weapons on, it's
like
another.
The first Iron Man. Holy.
Yeah, it's another like 100 pounds.
That's why they did that's why they did a lot of the wire rigging.
Yeah, it's hard to move in that.
Physically can't move.
Yeah, and like there's a quote where when Emily Blunt put on the armor suit for the first time, she was crying because it's basically carrying another person, right? It's carrying like another person. Yeah,
running while piggybacking someone.
Yep. So that's why I was like, mad respect, dude. And I think Tom Cruise went in and did a lot of research because he wanted the suits to be as real as possible and used as little CGI as possible. So those suits look real because they pretty much are real for the most part. Right? Yes, mostly practical.
It's almost 100% practical. Yeah. The only CGI bits I think are when they pull out the launchers. Even that might be
that come out of the top of the suit. Yeah.
It's probably compositing.
Yeah.
And there's probably a practical rig that is later composited with CGI.
Man, I want to see
Rhodes in Iron Man when the big machine gun pops out the top.
I'm just thinking of like
the ex-wife.
I'm just thinking of The Last Jedi when R2D2, the little robot sticks out, like he just shoots coins at people. I don't know why. Oh man, this is extended universe, but R2D2 shoots out a beer. It's like, give me a cold one, and then not R2D2, but one of those units. Anyways, sorry, continue.
Yeah, no. So I definitely agree with Barry in terms of like the sentiments of like, this is a film that you can tell there was so much love and care put into making this film, and it's really, really unfortunate that it bombed at the box office.
It bombed
because it was such a good movie. Yeah. And I was like, I remember watching like after being like, oh, I wonder how this movie's doing, and it made no money. It made no money. I was like, oh damn. But I think it made a lot of money later on.
It did, like worldwide.
It did kind of get a bit of a cult following.
I wouldn't say a lot of money. I believe the number was 100 million. I can't tell if it was US.
Back a lot in DVD and streaming.
Yeah, exactly.
Because once people realize that, this is a good movie.
This is a good movie, yeah. It's fantastic.
Which is why I'm kind of surprised that they're going for a second attempt. But I guess they're really banking on the fact that people did end up liking it later on, even though it didn't do well in the box office. So hopefully the second movie does well. Isn't there another movie that's like based on the Battle of Verdun for Emily Blunt?
I don't know,
but it's not her. But if number 2 is about Emily Blunt at the Battle of Verdun, bro,
that would be awesome. But Tom Cruise is in the cast listing, so it might not be.
I want it to be that news guy that shows up on the screen for like 5 minutes,
max.
And then it's just all Emily Blunt. I'd be so down for that.
I'll be down for that
but
too.
It's Tom Cruise, so probably not.
No, I
Yeah.
don't think Tom Cruise is. Well, no, you know what?
Yeah.
Tom Cruise does whatever he does with
Actually, yeah,
100%,
Tropic
100%
Thunder.
community.
Yeah.
She was in
Tropic Thunder. Yeah.
Tropic Thunder, you're right. Oh man, I
Mhm.
forgot about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Tropic Thunder is
That's-
that used to be my favorite Tom Cruise. Tropic Thunder, Tom Cruise. I didn't know it was Tom Cruise. Like,
Yeah. It's so good.
so good.
Well, I was watching, I was like, is that Tom Cruise?
I
And
didn't
then
even
at the
think
end, I
about
was
it.
Like, wait, that is Tom
No,
Cruise.
someone told me it was Tom Cruise, and I didn't believe them because I was like, "There's no way it's Tom Cruise, dude. There's
Dude,
no
it took
way."
like 4 scenes with him before I realized it was Tom Cruise.
I didn't realize it at all. That's how good he was. This is like Robert
So
Downey
if-
Jr. I was like, wait a second. Is that Robert Downey Jr.? I was like, it is. He's a dude playing another dude.
So, oh man, that movie is really wonderful.
Yeah.
We should maybe go through that movie and
Oh, I'm so
like
down.
break down all the stuff they're making fun of.
Tropic Thunder? Oh, heck yeah. Okay.
Tropic Thunder. What a wonderful movie.
Yeah.
I heard that Tom Cruise based that character
Yeah.
off of Harvey Weinstein.
Really
Yeah.
interesting how things played out.
Which makes a little bit of
Yeah,
It
sense.
does. It does.
Big yikes.
Big yikes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Huge yikers.
Robert Downey Jr. Man, what a guy. All right. Fat Tom
amazing.
Cruise. Yeah.
Quick aside, it's amazing how many people like adopted outrage at like black Robert Downey Jr. in that movie.
Yeah.
And like if you talk to like any black person, they're like, dude, that shit was funny as hell.
Yeah. There was.
And,
Yeah.
it's just
Oh man. Jamie Foxx was talking about this because he made a movie, and he wanted Robert Downey Jr. to play.
A black guy?
No, not a black guy. I think a Mexican guy. And then he's like, I'm down for it. And then later he called back and was like, hey, is this gonna be okay? Because everyone is always butthurt about all these things. And Jamie Foxx was talking about like how there's no freedom to kind of, it's just a movie. If there were actually like racists in there, they would make it with the intent of like, harming another race or putting them down. But it's just a movie that they're having fun with, and people. At least in the US, I've noticed other countries don't care as much, but
it's only really insulting when the role was written for somebody of a certain race and then they cast like a white guy.
Yeah.
you mean like
I
Dragon Ball
agree.
Z? I mean, not Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Evolution.
Like
Avatar.
Avatar, like Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Yeah,
Aloha.
or like Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in-
Oh, please.
Oh, what was that movie? Great Wall?
Oh, with Matt Damon.
Damon
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That is not Matt Damon's fault. The production company came to Matt Damon specifically for that role. They cast him specifically for that role.
I like Matt
And
Damon.
they came to him. It's not like he's like, I'm Matt Damon. I want to make a movie where I pretend to be Chinese. They're like,
I want to be a
Chinese
Chinese
media
hero.
company. They're like, hey, we want you to be in our movie. He's like, hey, I like money.
yeah,
I wouldn't turn
exactly.
that role down. I'd be like, hell yeah,
Hell yeah.
hell yeah.
Did I hear a lot of money? Absolutely.
Like you can never
Yeah.
blame the actors for these problems. It's all the studio, you know. If you're an actor, you're not like, hey, I don't want to be paid money. You know? I hate money. That's
No one
it's
says
just
that.
terrible.
that goes against my morals.
Yeah.
I don't morally believe in money.
You're right.
I mean, we could go off forever about
Yeah.
why these studio decisions get made, or
Yeah,
like
also-
why Scarlett Johansson gets cast as Major Motoko.
I mean, box office
Kusanagi.
draw is the main thing. Like the amount of people you can pull into the movie theater if you
Yeah,
put
yeah.
that person. So I get it. Also, I'm not really that angry because if the movie's made for American audiences, they prefer to see someone who's white in America. So like, it doesn't make sense to make like a movie aimed at an Asian crowd when they're the minorities. So I totally get it, and I'm not angry or anything.
It's not,
Just
it's
makes
not
sense.
Just that, it's that there's no
Yeah.
Asian female with the box office draw of Scarlett
Exactly,
Johansson.
exactly. That too.
It
That's
just
what I said.
doesn't exist right
Box
now.
office
Yeah.
draw. It's all about that. There's a reason why The Rock gets paid way more than other people because he pulls a lot of people into the theaters. You know, there's a reason why
Yeah.
some female actresses don't get paid a lot.
I'm so happy that now that there's like so many exceptions to that.
Yeah,
with like Crazy Rich Asians. People
Crazy
were
Rich
like, "Oh,
Asians.
this movie's not gonna do well," but it did so well in the box office.
Always Be My Maybe. That came out recently.
Yeah, Always Be My Maybe. Like that came out recently. That's been hyped up everywhere.
It's just okay.
Keanu
It's just
Reeves.
okay. It's just okay.
Keanu
But like,
Reeves.
yeah, Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves is like having like a renaissance.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm actually so happy.
Keanu Sans.
Keanu Sans. I was gonna make that joke, dude.
Keanu Sans. The Reva Sans.
The Reva Sans, yeah.
The Reva Sans. That's pretty good.
I like. Yeah.
We just need theater audiences to convince these crusty ass movie executives that you can cast an actor.
People.
Yeah, you can cast an actor and not have them necessarily be like a AAA actor and make a good movie and people will see it.
Yeah.
Although the opposite is true. You can cast an A-lister like Tom Cruise and make an excellent movie and nobody goes to see it.
Oh. Wait, is this true? Keanu is in a new Netflix original movie where it emulates me? Oh, yes. Alright. That is Always Be My Maybe. Yes, we're talking about that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's Always Be My Maybe.
Yeah. He's also in Cyberpunk 2077.
Yes, I'm hyped for that game. Yes. Before, I was just like moderately hyped, but when I saw Keanu's in it, I'm like, I'm buying this day one. You convinced me, Keanu. Just with John Wick 3 alone.
Don't pre-order under any circumstances.
Yeah,
but
just buy it.
Just buy it on
day
release.
One. Yeah.
Just go buy it on release.
Yeah. Release date April 2020.
An entirely new computer to run that thing. My God.
I mean, I'm just gonna play with like 10 frames per second. You know, I'm okay with that.
It's gonna cause actual flames to leap out of my box.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
I should start like a donation drive, new computer just to play Cyberpunk 2077. It's gonna be like $4,000, and it's gonna be like the banner.
Oh my God! Like the 2080 RTX.
Yes.
Ti is like $1,700.
Wait, $1,700? Okay, maybe 6,000 budget. You know, if you buy like, I can make an Apple joke, where the new like monitor mount is $200. It's just literally a metal.
No, it's $1,000.
Oh, $1,000. Sorry, $1,000 metal monitor mount that costs like, $70 everywhere else. For Apple, it's $1,000. That's not even including the adapter to put the monitor on. That's a separate $200. There you go. That's what I was thinking of. No joke. $1,200 just to stick your monitor on a wall. What?
The VESA mount for that monitor is something like a couple $100.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
The VESA adapter.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
It's also disgusting.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna cycle it back before we go. Yeah,
it was probably more insulting to me than the monitor mount.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
Having installed many monitors in my time, not having a proper VESA mount is just absolutely frustrating. It's infuriating to no end when you unbox a monitor and you're like, oh, I guess I'm not mounting this. We're gonna have to go buy another one.
Yeah.
We're like, I have to buy some retarded adapter for this to make it work on a regular ass VESA mount. Great design, guys. That's wonderful.
It's Apple,
Just put some fucking tapped screws in the back. How hard is it?
Just like drill your own holes. You just drill through the monitor. It's like, wait, what's the screws pointing out? Okay.
I've literally had to do that a couple times just because it would not mount. And I'm like, okay, I guess I have to figure this out. Let's do some nut and bolts, get it to attach to this mount. Here we go. Awesome. It's so dumb.
Yeah, I get it.
Shout out to everybody that puts a VESA standard on all their monitors. You're good people. Thank you.
Good people.
Oh. Yeah, you're gonna have to sell a body part. You're gonna have to sell an organ to afford an Apple computer. Maybe 2 organs, both your kidneys.
Both kidneys.
Both kidneys. 1 kidney's not enough. Going back here, my thoughts on the movie.
That actually isn't enough.
Yeah, it
is. You
isn't.
can look up the market rate for a kidney.
What is the market rate?
And it's gonna be less.
Market rate for kidney.
How much does a kidney cost?
Yeah. How much does it cost?
Oh, they're about $1 million. Okay.
$1 million?
Alright.
Never mind. Yeah, just
Okay,
one is.
alright.
You know what? Hey, yeah, well, you got 2
Oh no,
kidneys.
heart is $1 million. Kidneys are $262,000 each. All right.
Oh, that's not too bad either.
Yeah, so you can sell a kidney and probably get a couple of those monitors.
Yeah.
That's not a bad going rate for a kidney.
You can afford to mount your monitor after you sell your kidney.
Yeah.
Yeah, going back to the movie, I thought it was really funny. That's one thing that stuck out to me. How funny the movie was, and it doesn't like project that it's gonna be a comedy, and it doesn't do it with the dialogue either. I think Barry mentioned it's visually funny, so the situations they're in is hilarious, and like it happens when Rita has to she's killing Cage. She's just shooting him in the head without mercy to reset the loop. And like she does it so many times, she just resorts to it like on the fly. He gets injured, she's like, I'm not gonna take chances. He just shoots him in the head. And there's like a funny scene where he broke his leg, he's just crawling away. He's like, wait a minute, I can still feel my toes. And then she's like, oh, for crying out loud. And then she shoots him, and then he wakes up and just like hitting the bag. It's like, god dang it, this woman. You know, like there's so many she would make a great Asian mother, because like every time he's in a training montage where Cage is training with the drones, and he's just like an absolute mess, and she has this like look of incredible disappointment on her face. It's just like well acted. Like every scene, it's like quick cuts to disappointment, him failing, disappointment, him failing. Exactly, dude. Own disappointed. It's like you disappoint me like you're my own son. She was an Asian mom, but yeah. Like also how well that movie is shot. It's not like anything new or special, but it's just clean. It does have shaky cam in some points, but like you can tell what's happening. You can follow the action. The mech suits look amazing. They put a lot of time and effort into designing it. It looks real because it's all practical. It's really heavy. All the guns that are huge, they're real too. In terms of like practical effects, right? It's not like a plastic gun or something. It's heavy. It's probably made out of some lightweight metal still to make it easier, but it's really heavy. I believe they said they were like 100 pounds each or something, right?
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. They're like these massive monstrosities, and they had to build an entire wire rig just to let them stand.
Exactly, right? They can't even move in it. And
it looks good, but I actually
good,
kind of disliked the running animation.
Yeah,
the wire rigs.
They look a
It
little.
really takes you out of the moment. Like they're clearly like the moment they start running in them, I'm like, okay, they're in a wire rig, and it takes you out of the movie a little bit.
For
But
me,
it's
they
fine.
just look
You know,
silly.
it's really inconsequential.
Yeah, it is. Not only that, second time watching it through though, I noticed some things, and I wish they did it a little bit different. We got someone else in here. What is up, not Kyle? Anyways, we're talking about we got two people. Nolan Richardson was what is up. We're not all Chinese, but yes, ni hao back. Anyways, on Edge of Tomorrow, like one thing I've noticed watching it is how little I remember the side characters. Oh, there you go, Barry. Oh, what is all these people doing here? What is up, Evan Cool? Like all of the side characters, I didn't remember them at all, and I completely forgot the J Squad, the barracks scene, the scene when they help him kill the Omega. I forgot everything, and like
you forgot all that.
I forgot all of that. Like after watching it, because they weren't that important. Like whatchamacallit.
They're all just forgotten extras.
Yeah, they're extras.
Like a Lord and Savior, Pointy Hat Man.
Exactly. They weren't that forgotten, but like after I watched it, I was like, oh, okay. And I think it would have been. It made sense for the movie because they gave them as much attention as they needed. You know, just to color the story and add in a little bit of extra flavor to the characters. But like, they're not that important. They're not the focus of the story. It's all about Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise. That's what it is. They're the side characters. They give them enough where whatchamacallit, enough that they're, you like them a little bit but not too much, right? So when they die, you're not sad. Right? Oh, give me 1 second.
just enough to care.
Just
but not
enough
that
to
much.
care. And like, I was thinking it would have been better if it was a TV show, if they made an Edge of Tomorrow TV show, and then they focus on, you know, his connection with the squad, and then they kind of shown more of their character. Yeah, that'd be for TV. I wouldn't have liked that if they did that for the movie. It would, you know, it would be too boring then. It would be like a 4-hour movie.
You're not really supposed to care about them too
Yeah,
much.
you're not.
In
You're not.
fact, it's one of the narrative issues with the movie, is that at the end you're supposed to feel that they're a little bit sympathetic or something, and you're really not, because they're not built that way at all. If you remember at the beginning of the movie, like, they're perfectly willing to just let this guy die.
Yep.
They don't care about him.
Yeah.
They're literally like, we're gonna go into battle, and he's just gonna be a meat shield, and you're like, oh, that's kind of like, that's really cruel.
No one will tell him where the safety is.
Yeah, and you're like, all right, man, I guess we're just gonna let this guy die. That's fine. There are a couple of character issues like that in the movie.
Yeah.
that are flaws otherwise. Like, like the fact that they made Tom Cruise like a complete coward at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it gives him an arc, but it doesn't necessarily make him sympathetic. I guess he earns your sympathy through the movie, which is fine. But it's I respect. It's kind of like, in a weird way, like Doctor Strange, where like they made him a full-on dickhead.
Yeah.
At the beginning,
Yeah.
like a complete
Like you hate him.
dickhead. At the beginning of the movie, and I kind of respect that they're willing to go full asshole with him, but it doesn't really make him sympathetic, you know?
No, not really.
Not until significantly in the film. But they never really have. They never give the J Squad guys that moment, or like that build up to make you really, really like them. You're like, okay, they're kind of cool at the end of the movie.
Yeah, they're kind of cool. You're like, oh, I hope things go well for them, but I don't really care if they die, you know? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like when they go sacrifice themselves, you're like, oh.
You're like,
Okay.
eh.
I like how they play into that though, of their like, we're soldiers, we're here, and we know what we signed up for. We're here to. It's like, if we die, we die.
Yeah.
It's very dark, but I think it's
dark humor
like,
because
like,
they kill Tom
film.
Cruise every time. It's funny. Like, there's one clip where he's trying to meet Emily Blunt and he has to get away from the J Squad during PT, and the way he does it, he rolls under a car.
The push-ups.
Yeah, he does a push-up. So I'm gonna show it real quick. This is an hilarious clip right here. So like,
Yeah, like a quick note on the visual comedy of this movie.
yeah,
Like, it's like really basic stuff, and that a lot of other movies don't utilize. Like, just stuff entering and then leaving frame is really funny. Like, every time he gets hit by a truck and just gets blasted out of the frame, it's just hilarious.
Oh man, like he's running across, there's explosions, and then he gets hit by a car.
He just gets like
He's so
he
good.
gets
He's so
like
bad.
sideswiped by
Yeah.
a car, and then he gets like obliterated out of the screen, and that's just visually hilarious. And like people and like movies don't utilize this nearly enough.
Yeah, or like the one part I'm playing right now where he's paralyzed the first time Emily Blunt kills him by shooting him in the head.
Mm-hmm.
It's hilarious. Like,
It's a great bit.
he's just there. He can't move anything except for his mouth. He just looks stupid. And then he wakes up, you know? Like, oh, everything's good. Like, it's so funny. On a couple of other things, I felt like this is gonna lead into a later discussion with the graphic novel, the manga, the light novel. they adapted this incredibly well. Like, if you read the manga, there's like a lot of stuff there that wouldn't fit if they made it 1-to-1 for the US. Like, they adopted it really well. They made some changes that I think made sense. They treat the audience as intelligent enough to understand what's happening. So there are times when it's obvious that he made a loop already. You know, like they showed a PT scene the first time through. It made it obvious that he's already done that over and over again. Like, they're like 50 push-ups. It's like, yeah, 50 push-ups, and then he starts doing it. So like, it doesn't treat you like you're an idiot like Suicide Squad, where they're zooming in on something and like, this is what's happening, this is where you are, this is how you should feel. Especially with something that can be as time confusing as time travel. Like, some people are not gonna get it, obviously, but I think they did a great job with that. I think everything's cohesive. There's a nice flow to it. It makes sense. It's funny. The action is awesome. Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of moments where they purposely cut out a large part of scenes that they've shown previously, because they're like, oh, you get it. That already happens. That happens throughout the day. Like, that happens every day. So just cut out that whole part. Like, him landing on the beach, they cut out pretty quickly. After he does the landing a few times.
Yeah, or like the guy saying the speech over and over again, battles the great redeemer or whatever, you know, crucible, blah blah blah. You know,
I appreciate that.
I appreciate that. Yeah, please don't show it over and over again.
Or else the movie would be 3 times as long and twice as boring.
Yeah.
They really effectively layer the narrative on top of like what they've shown you. They respect the audience enough to say, okay, they get it, we can move on, which is great. It treats you with that you have a couple brain cells to rub together, unlike Suicide Squad.
Unlike Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, going on. We'll just go over the scenes real quick, unless you guys have some specific scenes you want to talk about, and then we'll get into the movie versus the light novel. Well, more specifically, the manga is shorter. Yes, you are an intellectual if you watch Edge of Tomorrow. It's no cop out. Yeah, I like how the movie starts out. Again, it treats you as intelligent. There's like a newsreel. It just shows that aliens are invading. You don't really, they don't tell you why, or like, they just show you that, oh no, things look pretty bad. And then it goes into the first scene where Tom Cruise is an ad man. He's trying to avoid fighting. So he became an ad man. He's a major. He didn't earn that title. And like, he's trying to blackmail the general, because the general's like, you're going into the front lines to film them. And then he tries to blackmail him, and it's like, fine, you can leave. And then later he's like, arrest this man. And then he gets tased. And then he wakes up in the deployment. And here's my first issue with the movie. It's a small issue, again, I don't really care, because the whole movie is awesome. There was no reason for the general to send Tom Cruise, William Cage, into the front lines. You know, he's there as a propaganda master to spin the minds of the public to support this cause. And there was actually no reason at all to send him to the front lines, especially to fight. Like, to get footage, I guess, but that's not his job. So the whole premise of why he's there kind of falls apart a little bit. If you think about it,
kind of send any cameraman to just do
exactly,
that.
Right?
Yeah,
they could have drones.
Just pull GoPro footage
from
like any of the soldiers on the battlefield.
But the one thing I did appreciate is they're like, okay, this is why he's gonna go there, and they keep it short and to the point. And he wakes up, and you know, it's a scene that you see over and over again. Wake up, maggot! You know, just over and over again. You know that. In that short scene, though, there's a lot of things going on. You know that it's the whole world is coming together, because you hear German, you hear Japanese, you see that, right? The little touch.
Yeah, over on the PA system where
on the PA system,
languages, and you're like, oh, this is an international mission.
It's exactly. It's like the United Defense Force. It's not the American or Yes, convince the people to support the war against aliens. Exactly.
Or you always see Emily
yeah.
Blunt wearing a British flag on her uniform.
Yeah, like so
It's
you
like
know.
a small detail.
Yeah, actually I didn't notice that. Good for pointing that out. He tries to get out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, like the British angle is actually really funny to me because like that shot of him, the opening shot of him in the helicopter, like they're taking a British flag and they're like slapping you in the face with it as much as they can. Like there's that opening.
Is
You are in Britain, you idiot. Like that opening establishing shot. It's just like British flags everywhere, and then like you're flying over like Big Ben and like Parliament, and you're like, okay, all right, I get it. We're in Britain, and they just keep going. They just keep going. You're like, oh my god,
I get it.
I get it. And then yeah, like the whole initial premise is completely ridiculous. That like he just puts him like, we're gonna put you on the front lines so you can get fucking killed.
Yeah.
Like, no, you wouldn't. You would just knock him down for insubordination and get MPs to arrest him. That would be basically the end of that story.
Yeah. Just put him in jail.
Also, like,
put him in jail.
You're wasting a power suit. Those power suits don't come easy, you know? Like, they're not just hand them out like candy to anyone.
Yeah. And then like the whole premise for the fact that he can't get in touch with any military command. I mean, he's a major. It's not like the highest military rank or anything, but like it's not like you can just throw a major into whatever situation. Like one phone call, like an email or a text, which should be all that it takes. And they're like, okay, this guy is who he says he is. We'll just throw him in the brig. The end.
Yeah,
or the
like
fact that like they're taking like a known deserter and it's insubordinate soldier with them
and
into
they're like putting him on the battlefield.
Yeah,
into a combat situation.
Just gonna desert again.
Where like it's life and death. You're like, I would not want this guy anywhere near me on the on the battlefield. I guess like they imply that J Squad is like the joke squad.
Yeah.
Joke squad.
Joke
right?
Squad, yeah. Joker
Like,
Squad. No, not Suicide Squad.
It's kind of mortifying, and it's kind of part of the subtext of the movie.
Yeah.
That like they're fully willing to just throw away bodies because they don't like them.
Yeah.
Like these are clearly like the misfits or like the dickheads of the army, and they're like putting them front row center.
It's
to be literal like meat shields.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Starship Troopers.
It's the Russian army.
Meat for the grinder. Yeah, Russian.
Yeah,
army,
it's literally
meat for the
like
grinder.
Starship Troopers.
Yeah,
it's like a straight satire.
Yeah,
like that. The sergeant character is satire, but it falls apart a little bit because then once they're on the beach, he's like right next to them, commanding them.
Yeah.
Like, oh, if I put a cannon fodder on the battlefield, I would not want to be anywhere near them.
Yeah, I'd be in the back lines.
I'd be like, you guys walk in a
over
straight
here,
line in front of me, like 100 yards in front of me. It's like, all right, it's a movie. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like when you start nitpicking stuff like that, it falls apart.
Everything falls apart if you nitpick it that far.
He believes that we are masters of our own fate.
Yes. Obviously.
He ain't scared. He ain't
scared. Yeah, that transitions into the mech scene where they're like introduce the mechs, and then Kimmel is naked. The big guy is naked. He's like, I gotta be free, man. So they add a little bit of color to the character, a little bit of cheap humor. He's just a big guy and just naked, and you see his butt, wrinkly butt.
I like how he has a fat suit.
Oh, he has a fat suit? All right, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's got a fat ass suit.
Oh, okay.
Like everybody has a certain design suit.
Like the bigger mechs.
Yeah, he has a big mech.
He's got the fatso mech. That's a neat little custom note. And you notice it when they're suiting up. You're like, oh, he's got the fat one.
It's like bigger too. Yeah, it's like a football suit. Yeah,
to hold his girth.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, they do go. They put a lot of neat little details into this movie. That ain't cheap either. That's a suit that they had to make for that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then a cool thing is the mech deployment. So there's drop ships, and they just literally open up, and then they're attached by wires, and just literally drop them onto the ground, and the wire's supposed to break the fall. and you know, we got Cage here. We got Tom Cruise trying to shoot the gun. That's in Japanese as homage to the light novel. And it's like, how do you turn the safety off? And then no one tells him. Like, as I said this earlier, no one tells him in any point in the movie. He had to learn by himself. And like, I find that kind of hilarious because they want him to die. I don't care. They don't even
really
want him to
don't
kill
care.
stuff. Yeah,
they're just like,
want to give him like a
why would you even bring him onto the battlefield at that
exactly.
point?
Just bothered me a little
like,
bit.
that's where this movie it works because it's satire.
Yeah,
They're literally satirizing the fact that they're perfectly willing to take young, eager people and throw them into the military to die.
Yeah.
Like they're knowing that they're gonna die somewhere, which kind of works, but it's kind of horrific. But I noticed, by the way, on rewatching this movie, that very first scene where they're storming the beach.
Yeah.
And they're all like the tentacle monsters fighting them all and murdering them, and everybody's shooting at it, and they're just spraying it down with bullets. And like finally, Tom Cruise figures out his safety and fires like
one shot,
10 rounds into it, and it dies. And you're like, great. And then the next scene, he's out of ammo. You're like, wait, we just watched them like the whole squad spray at this thing for like a full minute. And then he like shot like 5 bullets at it, and he's now out of ammo. You're like, what? What's the size of this clip? I have questions.
It's like 2 bullets. Just shot twice.
Sometimes the clip is like 20 rounds, and other times it's like 80 rounds.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how the scales.
It's random. It's fun. You know, like you don't know when you're gonna run out of bullets. It might be like 1 second from now or a minute from now. It keeps you on edge. You know.
The mechs kind of reminded me of like in the Matrix, the third Matrix movie.
Giant
the big mech. The
okay.
That's what it kind of reminded me of. Yeah.
This is what got me too. Like, there's an Asian guy. I forgot his name. He only shows up at the very end when they're going to France. They're flying the ship in, and he's on the big gun, the double guns, right? And they just shoot him, and it doesn't explain where he came from. He wasn't in J Squad. He wasn't in J Squad. So where did he come from?
The pilots like weren't in J Squad. They were just there.
The pilots I can kind of get because they might have been like.
You managed to convince these people to come with you.
Yeah, or like threaten them, you know, and just like I'm going to kill you if you don't fly this plane. And they're like, all right, fine. But who's that Asian guy shooting the gun? Dies right away. By the way, he's Pointy Hat Man.
He's literally Pointy Hat.
He's literally Pointy Hat Man. But yeah, that just reminded me.
So good if he was the same actor.
Oh my god, if it was, that'd be amazing. You know,
full circle.
Full circle.
Full circle, dude. Full
circle. Oh man. Yeah, that beach scene is amazing. It's like Invasion of Normandy. They wanted that same vibe. Storming the beach.
The parallels.
Yeah.
Storming the beach.
Like if we're done.
There's some visual callbacks to like Saving Private Ryan.
I was gonna say Saving Private Ryan. Yeah.
Leon, the Professional. Have you guys seen that movie?
No.
Oh, I saw it a very, very long time ago, I believe. I don't remember very much.
Wait, if I share, it'll spoil the movie.
Oh,
Do you guys care?
I don't really care.
I care a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
I won't say that. I won't say what the callback is.
That I wanted to watch.
Callback is that Leon is a mech.
He's a space alien.
Yeah, he's a space alien.
Yeah, there are lots of visual callbacks, like to Saving Private Ryan. There's a little bit of like Enemy at the Gates.
Really?
A lot of these moments, yeah.
So like this is kind of funny because this is where again it points out everyone's expendable. It's gonna add in Kimmel the fat guy is like, we made it because the ship gets shot. It's a surprise attack. And then he's like, we made it, and then the helicopter just falls on top of him and he dies.
Yeah.
And then later, Tom Cruise tries saving him. Like he's like he calling.
Just gets crushed.
Yeah, he gets crushed one time. There's one time where it's like he yells at him. And he's like, "What?" And he dies. And then so later, he just runs into him and pushes him out of the way. And then he gets crushed. And then later, you see like multiple tries. He gets the timing right. Just pushes him out. Keeps running. And there's a point where he just stops trying. You know when he's depressed, he goes emo.
When he's depressed and
Yeah.
lost all hope.
Yeah, when he's lost all hope, he just lets everyone die.
It's one of the very earliest time travel montages you get,
Yeah.
and I thought it was so wonderful because it's a great
awesome.
way to establish the core premise of the movie and add in a little bit of
Mhm.
humor.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the very first scene where you can visually, in a very visual way, understand that every time he dies, he learns a little bit more,
Yeah.
and then he can use that information to affect a different outcome. And you get it.
Exactly.
And you're like, oh, okay.
I
And
understand.
it's funny. It's funny and cool. And
It's so funny though.
this is so good. It's so funny.
Every time he dies, it's so funny.
We
It's,
did it!
yeah, we
Crunch.
did it. It's so dead. Also, I liked how the tentacle aliens were breakdancing. They're breakdance fighting. They're just like spinning around,
Just
like
swirling
swerving
all over the
all
place.
around, just doing flares, and they're like poking people with their tentacle legs or arms. I don't know which they are, and
Oh man, I loved the design of the alphas. I thought the alphas were so good.
they are good. Apparently, the initial design was done by Del Toro, and they iterated it over and over. So I don't know how much of his influence is on the aliens, but he did the initial prototype.
I
It's a
can
neat
kind of
thing.
see that.
You can kind of see it, yeah.
I could see a touch of Del Toro.
You see it, yeah.
It has that
it has
sort
it, yeah.
of otherworldly, almost like the stance is a little bit feline,
Hmm.
which is kind of a recurring creature feature in a lot of his monsters.
So one thing I wanted to point out, like the difference between the graphic novel and the the aliens. You got tentacle creatures, and in the manga, it's literally just balls with the mouth in the middle, and they shoot out spears at you. They're ranged. They're not even melee.
They're not even melee
They're not.
characters.
No.
Oh, that's way more OP.
Yeah. They just shoot you and you die. You can't do anything about it. And it's just neat tidbit there.
Unfortunate.
I actually
Unfortunate.
think the movie did a better job with that.
I think so
It's pretty
too.
cool.
They're not as creepy. It's just like balls that shoot at you. I'm like, okay. I mean, there's a joke in there somewhere. I'm not gonna,
Am I
say it.
supposed to be scared?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, you are, because they show how graphically people get like murdered in the manga. Like people lose their limbs and heads. It's way more violent, but
That's nice.
it's nice. Yeah.
The violence in the movie is actually very toned down.
It
in
is.
the sense of like when people die, it's like, oh, they die from an explosion. It's like they look perfectly fine.
Yeah.
not like they got their limbs blown off. You know.
I like that though.
Yeah,
Listen.
I would love an R-rated version of this movie.
Oh really? I
would
liked it
kind of
perfect.
blow
as
it
is.
up.
wild. It'd be wild.
Especially that first time he dies, where he is like, where Emily Blunt's like, you have a hole in your chest. Like, really? I was expecting like a pan down
Yeah.
and just like a massive gaping crater in his chest. There's just like a little bullet hole. You're like, oh, okay. That's
Mm.
fine, I guess.
She just steals his battery.
Yeah, she steals. Okay.
Battery.
So like,
she just leaves him there to die. I was like, that's amazing.
I like that because in the manga, I'll just do the graphic novel / manga / light novel together because it just goes with the discussion better. So in that version, he's dying right before he loops, and then she's like, "I'll stay with you until you die, and then I'll take your battery." So she's very polite, right? So she's keeping him company. Whereas this Rita, the movie Rita, is like, she's a complete jerk.
Savage.
Yeah. It's just like,
I love it.
wow, I love it too. That's more likable to me than this super polite, just like, I'm gonna keep you company and then I'll take your battery. She just like, you got a hole in your chest, and like, yoink. And then
She's like,
he
"You're already
dies.
dead."
Yeah.
Just steals his battery.
Just steals his battery. I'm like, oh, that was hilarious. Also, there's a reason why she uses a sword in the manga. She uses a giant battle axe. It's because you run out of ammo. So a melee weapon makes more sense.
It's superior.
It's superior.
It's the rule of cool, dude. It's whatever.
Exactly. It's rule of cool. Rule of
whatever.
swords.
Rule of cool.
Just imagine not Kanye, Keanu with like 3 swords. He's like Zoro from One Piece. He'll have 4 swords. 2 in his mouth. He's too cool. Imagine that. People would lose their minds.
He's done that movie already. It was called The Last Samurai.
Oh no, wait. There's another movie. No, not Last Samurai.
I
know. 47.
21 Ronin.
21 Ronin. Yeah, something
Wasn't-
Ronin. You're right.
47 Ronin?
47. I thought it was 47.
I think it was 47 Ronin, right?
47 Ronin. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Which is a remake of an older movie, but it was just like, well, what a movie that was.
Yeah. I didn't watch it. Was it
Maybe I
good?
should.
No,
Was it better than Suicide Squad?
I mean clearly.
Clearly. Hey, we just have to wait. If you find a movie worse than Suicide Squad, that will be the day, like, I don't know, the sun
We end
dies.
the podcast forever.
Yeah, we end the podcast forever. We're like, we can't do it anymore. We found something worse than Suicide Squad. Obviously, like, we mean like big budget movie, not like indie movies that, you know, no one cares about.
I
those.
mean, there are worse movies,
Yeah.
but
What's that one indie film where they zoom in on the guy's eye for like an hour? Actually an hour. They
Yeah,
just
you
slowly
mentioned that. I
zoom
don't know
in
the
to
title
one
of it,
dude's
but
eye. Yeah, that might be a contender.
that might be better than
Might
Suicide
still-
Squad. I understand what's happening
might
at
still be
least.
better,
Yeah. So, what were you saying, Barry?
Mhm.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. Yeah, they did a very good job
They did.
translating this stuff over, because anime in general does not translate very well to movies.
It does not.
Structurally, the premises are usually pretty cool.
Yeah.
The characters are interesting, but like the structure and plot are generally not very palpable for movie-going audiences.
Yeah. I didn't know if this was
Mhm.
based on not anime, manga, or a light novel. Like, I had no idea it was that great. It was that good to me. Like,
It only really came out later. They
Mhm.
didn't make a big deal of it at all.
Mm.
And there are other movies like that, like The Departed,
Yeah.
where they don't make a big deal out of it. Like they might mention it once or twice, but like
I didn't know that The Departed was.
yeah, it's based off.
Yeah, I didn't know either when I
Chinese
watched
film.
it. Though I like the Chinese film better, by
That's
the way.
crazy.
Yeah.
I think the Chinese film is actually more interesting, but
Yeah.
The Departed was also an exceptional movie. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was great.
They adopted it well. Like, did a great
Yeah.
job.
But yeah, like it wasn't part of the marketing. It's not like, hey, we're remaking this thing, or because it's not like the most well-known property of all time. You know, it's not like Akira or Ghost in the Shell has
Yeah.
a massive fan base already, where they can use that to kind of push the sales. But
Ghost in the Shell.
yeah,
Oh,
Ghost in the
Attack
Shell.
on Titan movie would be amazing. Oh man.
I don't know, dude.
Giant naked people eating small people? They got
I don't know.
swords?
Like, it'll take a very specific type of visual storytelling to make that look good.
they're like walking weird too. They're just
Yeah.
like they're walking weird really fast and they're gonna eat people. Oh. Okay, as long as they don't give it the Ghost in the Shell treatment and they give it the Edge of Tomorrow treatment, I'll be happy.
The Edge of Tomorrow treatment.
Edge of Tomorrow versus Ghost in the Shell. Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
the visual language of Shingeki no Kyojin is like the awkwardness of the Titans is part
Yeah.
of what makes them terrifying. And
They're just derpy
Who's
looking
that-
too.
What actor
Yeah.
would do a good job with that?
I don't know.
Keanu Reeves. Just make him all the Titans.
All the Titans, by the way, are based on characters that appear in the manga
Yeah.
and become Titans.
Wait, you might be a spoiler there, or is that
What? What?
Spoilers.
spoiler? Oh no!
I actually didn't know that. But it makes a lot of sense.
If you pay really close attention, you can see like
Who-
most
They
of the Titans
foreshadow
that
it.
appear. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a
Well,
couple that they
why would they
explicitly
want to
tell
kill
you.
the humans?
There's a couple that explicitly tell you, and then there's a bunch like the generic Titans that are just around. They're also in the comic, but you have to really watch out for them.
Like the generic ones, they don't really have control over themselves, but the special ones, they maintain who they are. So the general ones just go around
ones
eating
are also
people.
people.
Yeah, they're people and they eat people.
Yeah, you have to.
What?
Yeah.
My mind is being blown right now, boys.
Well, I don't know. I mean, they just revealed this in the anime, so.
Okay. That makes
Just
sense.
revealed.
Yeah.
So
Sorry,
anyway,
spoilers.
we'll sign off there.
Yeah, I haven't watched Attack on Titan in like 4 years.
Oh,
I mean, it's actually really good. It's really
No, I enjoyed it. It was well done.
the storytelling is a lot more cohesive than you would expect an anime like that to be.
Yeah.
Like he sets up stuff like in chapters
Way in
1 through
advance.
10 that pays off like 100 chapters later, which says that there was a real plan to everything, which is refreshing coming from like Bleach.
Dude, you bring up
like
you bring up a great point because a lot
let's
of
not talk about
a
it.
lot of animes, they have like such a really strong start and then they have no idea how to end the story. Like they're just like, all right, well, let's have like 100,000 battles. We'll just throw in new characters. They fight. The good guys are winning. All of a sudden, the bad guys are like, well, wait for my power up. This isn't my final form, and they power up. And the good guys are like, well, I'm losing, and then something happens, and they power up, and then they beat the bad guys, and just recycles. This goes over and over again. It just happens, and then the ending's like, well, guess what? Here's the ending. You just leave. Oh man, like Naruto? Holy cow, dude! What kind of garbage ending was that?
That reminds me of like Michael from The Office. He's like, sometimes I start a sentence and I just don't know where it's gonna end.
Yeah.
But like sometimes I just start a story and I don't know where it's gonna end.
Death Note, I felt like the ending was acceptable. I just wanted the bad guy to win. I wanted Kira to win.
The protagonist.
I wanted the protagonist who was like an anti-hero. I wanted him to win. I want him to keep killing people with the Death Note. And I was really sad that he got beat by 2 mini L's. They're not even good.
Discount L.
Discount L, yeah. Discount. There's 2 of them. That's why I got 2 for the price of 1. He got so wrecked. It's cause like, anyways. Back to this. This is where the loop happens over and over again. This is where he gets hit by the car. He gets hit by multiple cars. This is where he gets killed by aliens. He gets crushed by a helicopter, and then there's a part where he's doing the beach invasion again, and then he finds Angel, and he's like, "You have to come with me," and acts like he knows everything. And it's like, you have to come with me, the helicopter's gonna explode. And she just stands there. And she's like, find me when you wake up. And it explodes and they both die. And now there's a new development here where it's kind of obvious that
progression.
Yeah, there's progression here. There's like, all right, where do we take the plot now? And now he has to go meet her. And that's more funny things happen. And there's a training montage. He gets shot over and over again. And just points out how awesome she is, Emily Blunt. And that's great because like they don't waste time, They don't waste time at all. It's just like it doesn't have to make sense. It's just like snap. She knows about the loop. Let's get a training montage going. Snap, we're going somewhere. Yeah. And like and then they meet the doctor guy. It doesn't matter who he is. He's like, oh, I'm a doctor with like 7 PhDs. He doesn't say that, but it's a generic doctor character.
Dr. McScientist.
Dr. McScientist. He's like, well, you see, there's an Omega here. You gotta kill the Omega, and then they will lose. And then
They look at the camera and
Yeah.
say, "This is the part of the movie where we explain to you the premise."
yeah, exactly.
This is where we show you how this ends.
This is where we show you the villain. And yeah, and then there's like a farm scene where there's a touching moment there, and then they go through. There's a car chase scene, and then there's the last battle scene.
No, and then
Yeah.
Tom Cruise rides a motorcycle for some reason.
Yes, he rides a motorcycle.
Yes, he
I was
goes
like,
to the
how did
bar.
he get off a base? He goes into a pub. They're attacking London. I was just like, that felt a little out of place because I was like, he can make a phone call if he goes out of base.
Contractually obligated to have him ride a motorcycle.
You're right. He,
Like,
why didn't he
write
just
this
ride off
shit
a
in here
base?
somewhere.
Yeah, just make a phone call off a base, dude. Like,
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
there's some humor.
But I
yeah,
like that because like you see him go have that quiet moment, and
Yeah.
then he's suddenly remotivated to be like, "Oh, this is actually really important, and I'm the only one who can end this."
exactly. Because all these
Yeah.
innocent old grandpas and grandmas are gonna die.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, again, this is where the film's satire creeps in.
Yeah.
As he's sitting there in the bar, and they're all acting completely wretched to him.
Yeah.
They're
Mhm.
like, "You fucking coward." And he's like, "Okay."
I'm just gonna get on my motorcycle. Oh.
Oh, it kind of, having mentioned Attack on Titan, it kind of mirrors the core themes of both.
Yeah.
Whereas like this idea that like of humanity hurting
I'm
itself.
gonna
and-
interrupt real quick. Alright, Caddison is gonna leave us. He has an internship. And LSAT
Oh,
practice.
hell yeah.
Dude, good luck on that.
That's a rip.
Yeah, congratulations on
Well, good
having
luck,
an
man.
internship. Yeah, good luck, man. Catch you later. Thanks for dropping by.
Thanks for dropping by.
Yes, we appreciate it. Our only viewer is gonna leave now. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's about like the self-perpetuating nature of war,
Yeah.
you know, and about how like everybody's a bastard.
Pretty much.
Basically, it's kind of like it's kind of there. And again, you mentioned it earlier, but like Starship Troopers as well.
Starship Troopers, yeah. That's a great movie too, the first one.
The #1 misunderstood movie of all time. Well, the people will kind of get it now.
It's
People
a
kinda get it
complete
now.
satire. Like everything about
Like,
it.
It's weird because people misunderstand Attack
Yeah.
on Titan too. Like I've seen people accuse it of being pro-fascist
What?
or like
What?
pro-military.
What? Okay.
And like, have you
What?
have you seen the show? Have you watched it?
Have
It's
you
like,
seen it?
are you actually stupid?
You must like Suicide Squad. You must be a DC
Yeah.
fan.
Suicide Squad is the smartest movie ever made.
Exactly.
You just
9,000
don't
IQ. You
understand.
just don't
It's
understand
about
it.
family, guys.
It's about family.
It's about family. Oh my god! It's just like you like put your head into your hands and you're like,
Yeah.
I can't talk to you anymore.
Oh, we got another viewer dropping in. What's up, Cam?
Hey, what's up, man?
We got one more person. Oh,
Yeah, this movie is distinctly anti-military, anti-war.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Without being super obvious about it, I guess.
it's more toned
subtle,
down
yeah.
than Starship Troopers. That movie is obvious. Another
No, apparently not.
Really?
Apparently not. 'cause
Dude,
lot
a
of
military
people
guy
thought that movie
literally
was
points at a
pro-fascist.
baby and says, "More meat for the grinder," and the mother was like, "How dare you?" And like that's the entire point of the movie.
Well, no, they're all dressed like Nazis, and like they're like just going around murdering people and like letting people die horrifically, and people are like, "This is a pro-fascist movie." Like, what the fuck are you on about?
Wait, Starship Troopers or Attack on Titan?
Both of them.
Oh my god.
They have the exact same visual and narrative language, and people confuse it for like being pro-fascist, pro-army.
That's
You're
so
like-
weird.
Oh my god! Just watch the movie.
Yeah.
Watch the show.
Or like Saving Private Ryan. People are like, "Oh, this is such a pro-war film." I was like, I don't think so.
It's like, meanwhile, Vin Diesel's lying in a pool of his blood, dying, and crying about how he won't be able to say bye to his dad. You're like, oh, okay. I really want to be in that exact situation right now. I'm sure
Alright.
that's wonderful.
Enter real quick. Cam, the podcast is going great because we'll all have fun just talking about movies. We're not good at it, so that's why we're bad. But yeah, oh dude, he got Dead by Daylight running on his grandfather's 04 computer with no GPU.
And Windows 8.
Windows 8, 10 frames per second. No audio
That's
as
beautiful.
well. Holy cow, you need audio in that game. Tells you when the killer is near. Or when survivors are near. It's
What a
okay.
legend, dude.
Yeah, it'll make you stronger. The lag will make you stronger. So when you play on a real PC, it'll be like it's like seeing into the future.
It's like training in the hyperbolic time chamber.
Exactly. I would love to have a hyperbolic time chamber. Like, I would love to have one. It'd be so handy. Anyways, dude, we should make a discussion on how Starship Troopers is not a movie about being pro-war, pro-fascist. That's ridiculous.
It's been done before. I would be happy to talk about it, but it's like it'd be a really short discussion. Just like go watch the movie and tell me to my face that it's pro-fascist. End of discussion.
They'll be like, well, if you see here, you can see that Batman is far superior because he knows how to defeat each other hero and villain with his mind. So it's a mind movie. He wouldn't understand because you're not smart enough. Go watch your Marvel movies. Right? That's what I imagine the guy saying to you. And it's like, wait, we're talking about Starship Troopers here? Oh. Is that DC?
It's actually a really, really intelligent movie. Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
Every detail about that movie furthers its primary theme.
And
everything from the costume design to the way it's lit to its cast. How do you cast somebody as a joke?
Wait, isn't Valkyrie in that movie? Right?
I don't know. Is she? It's a long time ago.
I want to say no.
I think she might have been too young.
Patrick Harris.
Wait, NPH is in the movie? How come I don't remember?
Harris, he's one of the main cast.
Okay, I gotta watch it again for my own personal enjoyment.
Oh god. Okay, give me 1 second.
Yeah.
I have to look at this. I have to look this up.
I have to look it up too. I don't know off the top of my head. Wait, Vin Diesel, yeah, Denise Richards, sorry.
Yeah, Casper Van Dien, Denise Richards, Dina Meyer, and Neil Patrick Harris are basically the main characters, and they're all cast as a joke. Okay.
Wait, okay.
It's a joke because they're like, it's like 90210 as space Nazis.
Yeah.
It's the central premise, and like, it's like if you look at the way it's lit, like it's lit like a daytime soap, right?
Totally, it feels like a
Every
daytime
single
soap.
shot.
Yeah.
Every shot, the way it's framed, and like the lenses they use it's filmed like a 90210, like a daytime soap.
Yep.
And you're like, oh my god,
it's so bad. It's so bad, but so good.
Brilliant.
It's brilliant.
It's every decision is deliberate.
Like,
you're like, wow, it looks so bad. It's like you're like, that's the point.
It's the point.
That's
yeah.
the point.
Also, like, when you watch it though, like, again, I don't like when things are made to be a point. Like, it has to look and feel good for what it is based on its own merits. And like when you watch it, you just get it. It's like a movie. It's like Idiocracy. It's trying to prove how stupid things are by making everything stupid in the movie, and like it just works together. And just like it's like, oh, this movie is awesome. I love it now. And that's why I don't like the sequels as much, because I felt like it wasn't as coherent and dedicated to what it was satirizing, like, as the first one. It wasn't as, it just like kind of got lost and tried to make an actual movie, and that's where it fell apart. I felt like parts of it.
Okay. Idiocracy tells you pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
That it's making fun of all that stuff.
I love Idiocracy, by the way.
At no point in this movie Does anybody look into the
Okay,
camera
you're
and
right.
say
You're right. All right.
you're making fun of the military? Everything is played completely straight.
Yeah. At
Like
that, okay, fine.
100%
Starship
straight.
Troopers is for smarter people. Idiocracy is for people who don't understand anything. So that's to tell you, it's part of the
You don't
joke
even
too.
You don't really need to be that smart, but like,
Apparently, Barry, there's some people out there who don't get it.
I guess you need to be like the sharpest bowling ball on the rack to
Yeah,
get to this
yeah.
movie.
Like,
To get to this movie as satire.
come
But,
on,
like,
apparently it's not Starship
mean-
Troopers, it's Starship Fastest, come on. Get with the program.
It's like fascists are great. The movie, yeah.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, it's like the first hint should have been that it's fucking Paul Verhoeven, okay? And every one of his movies has been a satire at some level. And then just every frame of that movie is making fun of fascists and the military. Every single frame. Okay.
Like
And the fact that people don't get it is like baffling.
you should get, like, even when I was first watching it and I was young and I didn't understand anything, I was just watching it, I was like, this is a pretty good action flick, but when I watched it again,
When
I
you're
was
10
like,
years old, it's acceptable to think that this is just a fun action
it's a
movie.
fun action movie, but when you watch it again, you get it. Like by the end of the movie, there's so many things pointing to it that you should have gotten it. It's not like they don't say it outright to you. You're right. They don't say it out, like they don't turn to the camera. It's like, this is a satire, but everything points to it. Just like it's kind of like South Park, They point out how stupid something is by exaggerating that situation to the point where it's unreal and unbelievable. So at a certain point, your mind should be like, wait a minute. They're either really bad at making a movie or they're trying to make a point here. Like, and if they keep doing it consistently, like there's a coherent flow to it. Like, oh, this isn't bad. It's genius.
If you don't get by the end of the movie the final shot where Neil Patrick Harris says, "It's afraid," and everybody's cheering, and then they walk off hand in hand, like arm in arm, like super cheerful, like covered with blood and gore, like as a visual callback to the opening of the movie, and like Neil Patrick Harris is in his SS uniform. You're like, if you don't get it there, you're just not gonna get it. Okay,
You're not gonna get it ever.
you're just never gonna get it.
You're probably gonna think Suicide Squad is a great movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you probably think that Suicide Squad is a narrative genius,
Yeah.
and that the
Movies about
themes and
family.
symbolism of Batman v Superman are a stunning example of cinematic
Yeah.
cinematic genius.
Yeah.
It's just no, it's not. It's just not. But yeah, like that, like this film, you can enjoy it on a bunch of different levels. Edge of Tomorrow, like you can watch it as a straight sci-fi and it works. You can watch it as an action movie and it works. You can watch it as a satire and it works.
You can watch it as an anime and it still works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Emily Blunt is waifu.
I guess.
Emily Blunt, best waifu.
Exactly. Oh, you know that move where she's like holding herself in the air with her two arms, right? She can actually do that.
Yeah.
I was impressed. I mean, they had to wire her when she's doing it for like long periods, when they're filming, obviously, but she can do it in real life. I was impressed. I was like, oh, that's definitely waifu right there.
Yeah, that's pretty hard to do.
Yeah. Jim, you did a great job.
Jim from the Office made out pretty well.
He did.
Yeah.
It's like Pam 2.0. Yeah. Well, Pam is really cute though too. She ain't no mech warrior though.
For the longest time, I thought Pam from The Office was the same actor that played Lois in Superman.
Oh, yeah, they do look alike.
And I was legit confused when I heard that it was a different woman.
Amy Adams, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Isaiah was thinking of a different Superman. Man of Steel.
I was so confused. And Anyway, back to the movie.
Yes.
Back
All
to
right,
the
here
movie.
I'll just throw in some comparisons with the manga, and then we'll just close with things that are important to you and stuck out, and then we'll just talk about whatever. All right, so I just wanted to explain. So like, I want to because I mentioned this earlier before the podcast. When they loop, so what happens in the manga is there's tachyon particles that are emitted from these aliens, and they're connected to the other ones, the balls, right? There's one with an antenna, and then it acts as a transmitter to these other ones. So like, if you want to stop the loop, you start the loop by killing it by accident, and it transmits the particles to you. So then you have that power, right? So how you end the loop is you chop off the antennas first from that one alien. It's the alpha or slash omega equivalent, right? And then you kill the guys around it because each one acts as a backup unit. So if you kill the antenna, the backup units will survive, and then the loop will start over again. And then so you kill all of the mini-me's around it, and then you kill the guy with the antenna that she mentioned. Rita calls it the server. And then you stop the loop because there's no way for that guy to transmit the signals again, and there's no backup. All right, so that's how they work. It's kind of similar in the movie as well, where they're more stupid. In the manga, they just shoot stuff. So they're like, we gotta shoot real good. We can't make plans like traps and everything. So they're just like, we'll just keep learning over and over again. Like, they're gonna be here, they're gonna do this, or just position our units here and then shoot them real good here. And that's how you stop the loop. So what happens though is that if you keep looping, so she can loop on will now, okay? And like, she can loop as long as she knows how to end the loop, right? She just has to chop the antennas off of the giant ball guy. Now I'll bring the picture up again. Where is it? 1 second. You already have it. That looks like that with antenna sticking out on the back. And then kill everything around it, and then kill that guy last, and then you can end the loop. So what she does is she can loop on demand, and then she'll loop one time just to see who dies, and then she fights again and tries to minimize casualties. So that's what she's doing. And apparently you're exposing your brain to these particles, and it degrades. So it's like having brain cancer, sort of. You're eventually gonna die from this. So you can't keep doing it. From whatever. So you can't keep doing it. So they don't lose their power by being exposed to the blood. That's how it works in the movie. And I thought it was a little weird that just having that blood gives you that power, because if you loop, right, it's before you get the blood. So like, how does that work? And exchanging someone else's blood means you loses the power. And I was like, it's a convenient.
I'll be giving out blood transfusions to everyone around the base.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that, obviously, because then they could do that.
Time traveling invincible warriors.
Yeah,
now.
exactly. And they don't do that. There's a funny part in the movie too, where it's like Tom Cruise is like, "Have you tried everything?" And then everyone's like, "You mean like sex?" And it's like, "Yes, I tried it." But it's like, "But how many times?"
But how many times?
Yeah, or like something like that. That was hilarious. Like
That's pretty funny.
That was pretty funny. So then it degrades your brain, and like this time traveling method made a little more sense to me, because like at the end of the movie they kill the Omega, and then they go back in time, but then the Omega is dead in that loop. So I was like, how does that work? I can't think too much about it. So I was like, all right, I'll just go with it.
They take the best possible route with time travel. Is they explain
nothing.
Show you the basic premise.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Do not ever try to explain.
Yeah. Don't you just?
Because you're going to make it worse.
Yeah, you are. It's like, this is how it works. Don't think about it. All right.
Don't
think about it. Yeah, don't question it.
Just don't question it.
Don't question it.
If you have trouble understanding the Starship Trooper is a satire, you're never gonna understand the mechanics of traveling through time.
So, yeah. Also, like, the characters are different. So, like, the guy is a Japanese guy, Keiji, right? That's why they name him Cage, because they, Keiji.
Keiji,
Yeah.
Keiji or Keshi?
Keiji.
Kesha?
Keiji?
Yeah, Kesha.
Kesha?
It's Kesha. Cash Me
Mhm.
Outside. So they name him Cage, and then and
Yeah.
they played off of that because the nickname that he earns is Killer Cage at the end. When he kills all the aliens, they're like, "Oh, we recognize you as a warrior." And then Rita here in the manga, she's a younger girl. She comes from Illinois. Shout out to Illinois.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Illinois.
Her family gets murdered by these aliens. Like, I think 3 of them kill 1,500 people, and she's one of the few that survives.
Wow.
And it's a typical anime trope where the mother got shot, she's hiding in the basement. The father was like, "Go in there, hide, don't come out." Father knows jujitsu, so he's just like, he can't. He's like,
Jane Russo.
yeah. He's like,
Run.
he's run.
Keep
Yeah.
hope alive.
Like, don't die. He literally says, "Don't die," and then he's like, "Guns don't work in that case," and then he's just like ninjaing things and makes them shoot each other, but only one kills the other guy, and then he dies right on top of the basement door, and they come and look, and then like the mother's dead by the time the help comes, and then she joins the UDF with the sole purpose of killing all the aliens. And then another difference is that like the mech suits they wear is more anime mechs. I like the mechs that in the movie because it's more it's sort of like how actual like power armor functions and looks like. It's like an exoskeleton to make movement easier, and you can do more stuff wearing it. Like,
Yeah, it's informed a lot by existing prototypes.
Yeah, exactly.
Actual
Yeah,
prototypes.
Actual
there are
prototypes,
military
yeah.
prototypes. Yeah.
like
Yeah, they're like they don't work practically in any way.
yeah.
But
But if it did,
I mean,
it would look like this. Yeah.
or it's like they could do it, but it's just extremely expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically you're controlling an exoskeleton that can do way more than you can. But in the manga, they wear a full body suit, and then they go into a full mech suit. So there's 2 suits, and the mech suit is super powerful to the point where it needs auto balancing. Otherwise, you can't even walk. If you turn it off, you might kill yourself because like twist your body or contort it. Yeah, and then so it starts out they have guns, and then it turns out guns aren't that good at so they got these spikes. So you gotta get super close and launch a spike into it, but you can only carry 20 of those spikes. So then they're like, all right, I'll just make a giant axe. So this tiny girl is murdering stuff with the giant axe, and then he learns on his own. So what he does is, how do I get stronger? And the sergeant tells him, you gotta learn by cutting people down, like the Japanese samurai. You learn by cutting, right? The actual battle. So he was saying that you don't have the time for this, but he's like, oh, I can die over and over again. So it's just him literally dying over and over again, just like figuring things out. So Rita
Just like training.
yeah, just training. Rita doesn't teach him at all. Like, he just watches her and then learns from experience, and he gets his own axe. They're fighting, blah blah blah, and then at the end, it's kind of like similar to the movie where the aliens are attacking London. They're attacking Japan because they're like, oh, these guys are too good, let's just attack them on their home turf. And they get in and they're fighting, and there's like before that there's a scene where they make love, blah blah blah. They fall in love, right? And she makes coffee because she loves coffee, and there's no more coffee in the world except for like a few places. So she has a coffee grinder, and that's referenced to in the movie as well, in the coffee scene in the barn. She's like, oh, you make coffee. And then her suit is colored red to stand out so the aliens can attack her. And in the movie, she has red coloring on her armor as well. And then it turns out that if you're exposed to these particles long enough, you become basically one of the aliens' antenna. You become a transmitter, right?
Oh.
So for them to break the loop, 2 of them can't exist, and one of them has to kill the other for the loop to end. Otherwise, if they just kill the server guy, the one of them will act as an antenna. Again, the logic breaks here because if they kill all of the other aliens, there's nowhere to back it up to. Anyways, you can't think about it. So then it turns out that they have to fight each other, and the guy wins because the girl trained on her own. There's no one to train her. He trained by himself, but he also learned from watching her, so he knows all her moves. And then the end scene is she's lying there dying because he killed her, and then you know, he's crying, blah blah blah, and then he goes in and drinks moldy coffee because it's been 3 days since the battle started, and yeah, that's how it ends.
In the anime?
That's how it ends. Yeah, in the manga. I'm surprised they didn't make an
Manga.
anime of this because I think it'd be pretty cool. So
Wow, how
I think
depressing.
yeah, it's really depressing. It's more sad. I mean, there's other like anime tropes. Like there's a cooking lady who has really big boobs, and you know, she's like, "I'll stay with you." And I was like, "No, I'm too busy. Gotta train. See you later." There's like a little girl with glasses and long hair who makes the suits. So that's the doctor guy. The doctor guy is a scientist, figures out how to track the Omega. In the manga, she just makes her the weapon and makes him the weapon too. So like they make that a little different. And I think it's an improvement because he's just shooting the gun. You know, it'll be hard to have a scene where they're both using like giant swords and like boosting each other and that kind of that would be a nightmare to film like in heavy suits. Like, but yeah, that's the general, you know, gist of it. So it's pretty different but also same at the same time, and I like what the changes they made. I think both of them have weak points in the logic and both of them have strong points, and I think the end product that we got for both of them are equally good separately. You don't have to compare one to the other, but they do have a lot of nods to the movie has a lot of nods back to the light novel. But yeah, Hendrix is apparently the commander for the girl Rita, and when she's looping, so like if this was a movie version, Hendrix would be her CO, and she's just starting out, and then she got into the loop and she was bad, kind of like Cage. She gets really good, and then she ends the loop, or she bleeds out, whatever, you know, and then she loses the power, and like she saved everyone and did everything well except Hendrix died. And the sad part is he just got a baby and he's a father, just celebrating right at that battle, and then he dies at the end of it on our last loop. That's what happened. So that's, I think, probably the same story.
That's pretty sad.
Yeah, it's really sad. Again, like anime, when people die, they try to make it as sad as possible. It's not like shock or of course, yeah, gotta get the tears. So that's one side note. Like the little differences there. I don't want to go into more detail, but I think they did a great job at adapting it. I did not know this was based off of a manga at all or a light novel. Like I had no clue. Like usually you can tell when they're like, oh, they copied something but they did it wrong. Kind of like Old Boy we were talking about. Yeah, Mass Singer.
Old Boy was just a straight adaptation. The original one was fairly well known, I think.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like they copy the wrong things, or like they messed it up somehow.
I mean, Edge of Tomorrow does it really well because they adapt the premise and to an extent the characters. And that's
to an extent.
That's the important bit.
Yeah.
That's the important bit. Like you should not do a beat for beat remake because
no.
What are you even doing? What are you even doing with your life?
What are you even doing, Star Wars? What are you even doing?
Yeah, the axe is 200 kilograms, by the way.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. I want to say that Rita's sword in the movie is like a helicopter blade.
Oh, that's what I thought too. Yeah.
I thought that's what it kind of looked like, but upon rewatching it, I'm not so sure.
It's still a sword.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a giant sword. That's all we need. Final Fantasy VII remake, anyone? Cloud?
It just made me think of Thanos copter.
The helicopter blade.
I was like, this is Thanos copter.
They should be handing out these murder sticks to more troops because it seems highly effective.
Yeah. Well, it turns out she's one of the few people who can use it, but like that logic kind of disappears in the movie because in the manga the suits are really hard to control and you know a lot of time to master it. Whereas in this movie it's just like, oh, they just make you do more stuff? Why can't other people swing like maybe mini murder sticks? You know?
I think they were like a lot of people just haven't used the suits enough to actually train in them.
Yeah.
To know
Oh,
how
you're
to use
right.
them
You're
to the
right.
full
These are new
potential.
recruits.
That's how I viewed it, and it was
Yeah.
like that's why people like Cage can use it to the full potential because he's been fighting in the suit for so long
Yeah.
that he
yeah.
knows how to use things that other people don't.
Good point, Isaiah. You save them from a plot hole.
No, I got you. I got you right there.
Oh, I never viewed that as a plot hole. It made perfect sense.
I didn't
It's
see
like,
that as a plot hole.
if
Yeah.
so,
Okay.
like, I don't remember if they give you a number, but like if you add it all together, I think he's been in this suit in constant combat every single day for years. Like not just training, but in physical combat for years, essentially. Just day after day
In terms
after
of
day.
time, yeah.
So
in
I
terms of
think
time.
IMDb
like-
said there's 26 explicit loops, but I counted 31, and that's
Mhm.
not including the implied loops. So you're right. He literally
Yeah.
says we've been going through this for an eternity. So,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a
My
long
assumption
time.
was that it was probably close, at least a few hundred times, because
Yeah,
she said that I had to watch him die like
300 times.
what was
Yeah,
it? Like 300 times. But it's like she probably died a bunch of times without even seeing him die. So
yeah.
that means my assumption was it was probably close to around 1,000 loops.
That
So
seems
yeah, in terms of
about
time, like
right.
a year, like
That would
or
be my
3
guess as
years.
well. Yeah, so
Yeah.
like years, and like that's combat time. Like if you
Yeah.
ask an
Yeah.
actual soldier how much actual time they spend in combat, it's not that much. Okay, a lot of time and deployment is spent sitting around or doing stuff in preparation for combat, and the actual
Mm.
combat is maybe like 10% of your time, right?
Not
3
even
years?
10%, I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like 3 years of actual no shit on the field mixed in it combat experience is enormous. Okay.
Also,
Yeah,
like
that's
That is
insane.
enormous.
I like how this works because if you didn't have the mech suits, it might have not played out as well because physically he's in the same shape as he was when he started, which means, not the best shape, but he's not fighting with his own strength, he's fighting with the suit, which gives him the strength, and he just needs the knowledge of how to use it. So I think that's a great touch, I think, in terms of
Yeah.
logical flow.
Plus, they're fucking cool.
Yeah, they're cool. Yeah, obviously.
That's the most important thing.
You're right.
The rule of cool.
The rule of cool.
Man, the thing that bothered me was
Yeah.
like that one scene where he goes back and he's like, I need 8 grenades and like 8 extra magazines
yeah.
and an extra battery. I like, why the hell didn't they just do that again? For when he goes through the beach scene, like when they go get the cars and then he's like, I can't get you past this point. It's like you start the helicopter and you die. I was like, why didn't they just bring more batteries for their suits and more ammo?
Because she has to die, so it's
Yeah,
sad.
like a backpack with like 20 batteries.
You're
No,
right.
Because
You're right.
literally strength doesn't matter, right? Because you're next to a suit. So weight doesn't matter, right? So why can't you just carry more ammunition and more batteries?
Actually, they just
you
needed
can fight your way out?
two extra batteries. Not even 20. Just two would have done it.
No, you need 2 extra batteries and like maybe 5 extra magazines. And
Yeah,
you
she has a
just could've made it
sword.
out of
She doesn't even need ammo.
They're not particularly big either, because you see her pull
Yeah.
his battery out at one point.
It's like,
You're like,
those-
oh.
Those magazines
yeah.
are small and the batteries are tiny.
yeah.
Actually, the magazines I think are kind of big.
They
But it's just-
they're
you can
size of his
still
carry a
leg.
bunch of
Like
them.
it's
They
like
could be 20
RoboCop
shots or
reloading
80
kind
shots.
of. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. You're
It's
like,
fine.
all
It's
right,
fine.
the
Yeah,
movie
Yeah, we're
has
just
to have
nitpicking
this
here, and like it's fun to nitpick. Kind of like a good point was brought up where when the general gave him the transponder at the end, all he needed to do was put it in his leg, find out where the location was, have Rita kill him, and then he just resets and he knows where it is instead of trying to
Yeah.
Escape.
Instead of trying to escape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine. The
It's
movie
fine.
has to happen.
Yeah, that has to happen so that he bleeds out and loses power, and they're like, oh well,
Yeah.
we can't reset anymore.
Because they need to raise the stakes. Like if you don't do that, then there's no
Exactly.
stakes.
You can't
And
have
it's
that.
too simple.
Yeah, it's too
Yeah.
OP of a power to have,
Being able to literally change time and reset.
Set
Yeah.
every time you die.
It's
Yeah.
the Dark Souls power.
Really?
Yeah, that's
I
the
never
whole
played
premise
Dark
of Dark
Souls.
Souls. If you guys are not okay.
Yeah.
The whole
I
premise
haven't-
is Like the in-universe explanation is that like every time you die, you are essentially an undead, and you respawn to an earlier point. That's it.
Okay, makes sense.
And then like the core mechanic in the first one is the more times you die, the more hollow you become, or like undead. Like you become less human every single time you die. Yeah. Yeah. It's literally that power. I mean, there's a bunch of different media that have explored this same idea. The more recent one was ReZero, an anime where he has that power, and like
Isn't that a game too?
Maybe,
Okay.
but like it's just like it's an isekai. He's just a regular like NEET, and he respawns. He like gets moved to this world, and his only power is that every time he dies, he gets sent back to a save point. Essentially, he's basically save scumming.
Yeah.
Okay, he's literally just save scumming every time he dies. But he has no outstanding abilities otherwise, which is kind of funny. He has no physical abilities. His magic sucks. Okay, and all he has is knowledge.
Hey, knowledge is the
That's all
strongest
he
weapon.
takes with him.
Obviously, if you're a DC fan, you would know that knowledge is the most important thing for these movies and fans.
Yeah. The funniest thing though,
Yeah.
that they don't do in the main anime, but there's like little spin-offs where like so like in this movie, like every time he resets, like Rita shoots him in the head, right?
Yeah.
Well, like he does.
Yeah.
But like they show in a little spin-off, like every time the protagonist in ReZero resets, like he'll do like at one point he's in this big conflict with like this demon girl and like one other person.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I'm going to save all of you. And then he runs off to the side and jumps off a cliff. He's like, I'll save all of you. And he's like super enthusiastic. He just jumps off the cliff to reset. And in the spinoff, they show what happens afterwards.
What happens?
from other people's perspective.
Oh.
He just like jumps off a cliff and they're like, what the fuck just happened?
Oh, dude.
They just like this mangled body on the bottom of the cliff.
That's like the Master Sergeant where the first time he tries to roll under the car and away, he gets hit by the car and just like,
Oh
God.
Oh God, yeah.
What did you do?
Yeah, what the heck were you
Just like-
thinking?
Just imagining like all these like alternate universes where you just follow the people after he dies.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh god.
Yeah. He's like hit by a car like, oh God. Oh.
Or like every time she shoots him, and then everybody's like, "Why did you kill him? Oh my god! Oh
Just
my
shot it on our man.
You just shot it, dude, in cold blood.
Shot him in the head.
It's so
Like,
funny. That would be
It's
pretty
absolutely
funny.
hilarious.
Yeah.
They show you a little bit of it in the movie, but it's just imagining that it's like,
I would love if they actually made a TV show out of this.
Yeah, I would love it
hoping
too.
that I'm really hoping that the second movie can live up to what this first movie was.
I hope so as
if
well.
they did everything the same and just like closed up all those little nitpicky things that like take you out of the movie a little bit. If they get their core premise, like their initial premise, a little bit better, and then like took away all these plot convenience, like just a couple of the plot conveniences, it would be just so wonderful.
It
I'm
would.
kind of hoping it's not Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I seriously hope that it's Emily Blunt.
It's gonna be Tom Cruise.
Absolutely.
She's
Absolutely.
on the credits.
If they do Verdun, I'll lose my mind. That'd be amazing.
That would make.
Because you're so curious.
That
Because
would
there's
make
so
for a
many
great
like
movie. Yeah.
they allude to it, but you don't know what happened or like how she fought, how she got out. So many crazy things.
Yeah, and like it would still be funny because there are scenes where he's trying to lead her across the beach to get to the point where they can go to the dam, and she dies every time, so he has to reset. And like he's trying to explain to her, and they're like drawing this like complicated like football play map on the virtual beach. Is like, okay, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, and she's like, you're not explaining to me. Clear, she's getting frustrated. And she keeps dying. I was all right. That was kind of funny too.
Yeah, it was like such morbid humor.
Yeah, it's very morbid humor. But when Tom Cruise
No,
dies,
no,
though, it's
no.
hilarious
Duck
every
to the
single
left
time.
and
Yeah,
then wait.
and then
then
wait,
go.
and then go, and then she dies again. I'm like, well,
Every time, yeah, you're right. Every time Tom Cruise dies, it's hilarious.
it's hilarious. It's
And I feel a little bit like it's the filmmaker making fun of Tom Cruise a little bit.
a little bit. A little bit.
Every single time, there's a couple where he's just like, "Oh, come on."
Yeah. He's just crawling away. He's like, I swear I'm okay. I'm okay.
Even
I can
on
feel
the
everything.
battlefield,
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, okay." He just dies.
I like how
Yeah.
the romance is like there, but it's very
It's off to the
how
side.
do I say it? It's very subtle.
Yeah.
It's very secondary
Yeah.
to everything
They,
else.
I
they
love that.
very much don't make it like the main focus of the film, and I really, really appreciate that.
I appreciate that. Like,
Yeah.
I hate romance of any kind because it's not done well.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that it's
Yeah.
not the focus. It is the focus in that it's like the narrative thrust becomes that
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
like he stops wanting to take her on this because he knows she's gonna die every single time, and he takes
Yeah.
it solo, and that becomes like his motivation, like the last act of the film. But
And he keeps giving her options like, you don't have to do this.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You don't have to.
I'll take the grenades at the end. I don't know. I mean, I'll distract the whatchamacallit, the alpha, so you can
So that
throw
you
the
don't have to
grenades
die,
in.
da, da,
Yeah, you
da,
can
da.
live. Yeah.
it works because it kind of works with the meta commentary of the film, where he's like not trying to win so much as he's trying to like save her at that point, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice. I liked it. I kind of didn't like where they kissed.
Oh,
I
that.
feel like
Okay.
uh-huh.
I'm like
Yeah.
it probably would have worked better if they didn't kiss.
That was not scripted, and Emily Blunt did it better as improv because she felt it was right.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't in the script.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
It's not bad, but I feel like it probably would have worked better without it.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit. I agree.
Because
Yeah.
I feel like it doesn't really fit her character overall, the way she's portrayed. And then she's known him for at this point like 8 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. See, like, the manga does that a little bit better because they actually spend a full day getting to know each other. I mean, it's still a full day, but they're both loopers, so then there's like a connection there, an instant connection.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But man, I got so hyped at the end when I watched it in theaters when you see him like just walk up to her.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a moment that's paid off from stuff that's set up for earlier in the
It's
film.
so good. It's so
really
good. Yeah. Man.
And I hope he talks to J Squad and he just fights with everyone again. You know, that'd be awesome.
But why would they fight? Everyone's dead.
Oh no, the aliens are still there. They're just in disarray at the end of the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're just like
My
easy.
assumption was that they died.
They didn't die, but they're just like there, so you still have to kill them just in case. You know, you never know.
Because like they say, what the Russians are pushing in,
Yeah.
and they're not being met with any resistance.
Yeah, because they're not
So I
fighting
just
back.
assume that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That they're just there.
just there. Yeah.
Mhm.
If they were dead, then you'd just be like, you don't need to push in at all. But
Yeah.
that's why you're right. The sequel, if it's taking place after the first movie, I don't think they can make a good story out of that. I think it'll be harder.
I don't think that would be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that if they make the movie take place beforehand,
I think you have a
Then that
great
could be
point.
really
If it was
good.
like about Verdun, that
Yeah.
would be amazing.
if it's about
Yeah.
Verdun, I think that'd be amazing. Or I don't even know what else they could do. If they showed maybe the very beginning of the war, like because this is year 5 that they're going into for the start.
Oh, just
Of the
them
movie?
getting wrecked. Humanity
Yeah, no,
getting
literally
wrecked.
like year 1 through 4, or years 1 through 5, up until that point of them like losing every single battle except for Verdun. That would be amazing. I think that there's a lot of potential there.
There is. I feel like it'd be more like a war movie, and you get like that
No,
sweet
exactly.
victory
You're
at
just
the
getting
end.
slaughtered.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Difficult to tell at this point. It's in pre-production. There's not much information out right now that I know of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as they keep that, like the core competency of this film, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
It'll be a very enjoyable film.
Yeah.
As long as they don't try to make a cinematic fucking universe out of it.
I don't think they will. There's not much to, not much to use there.
We bring in Batman. We bring in the Suicide Squad.
Yes, Suicide Squad. Exactly what I needed.
It'd be
That'd
like
be-
Yeah.
the Edge of Tomorrow cinematic universe.
There's Tom Cruise and his motorcycles.
Yeah, just following a bunch of time loopers across the world. Oh man.
Well, that would be actually cool. Time loopers. And it turns into the Looper with Bruce Willis, you know?
Or they follow the journey of a completely different looper at a different point in the war that we know nothing about.
Yeah. He's just like
And then they all slowly team up and realize that there's more loopers.
And then Thanos comes in and it's like, I got the Infinity Gauntlet. It's like, but wait, we can just go back in time. And it's like, oh.
Yes.
But I'm a looper too, so this is trying to outloop each other. Can you imagine the headache? Like trying to think of a plot where everyone can loop, including the villain, and you're just trying to outloop the other person? Like, holy cow, I would have a headache trying to write a story that's cohesive and works.
The whole goal would be to capture the other loopers and not kill them. And then give them blood.
Just take their blood. You know, it's like Highlander. You chop off a head, there can only be one, right? Just steal their blood. It's like, I'm the strongest looper. I can loop back 2 days now instead of 1. Amazing.
That'd be sounds like an anime premise right there.
Exactly, dude. Alright, I think
Someone who can loop 5 days.
yeah, let's
Unstoppable.
just end for YouTube real quick, and then we can keep talking. Let's recap our thoughts, and then we'll just do an outro here. All right. I'll go first, and Isaiah, and then Barry. How about that? Sound okay?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, again, I thought this movie, just like Isaiah, I watched it on a whim. I think someone mentioned that it was awesome, and I didn't believe him because I was like, it can't be. It doesn't look that great. And I watched it, and I was like, holy cow, this movie is actually amazing. I think it was well crafted. Nothing really stands out to me in terms of cinematography or the dialogue. A lot of it was forgettable for me. Like some parts stuck out, but like, yeah, I didn't remember the side characters. The story is very light. It's just there to service the action, give it a framework, you know, give a reason for them to do things. Cinematography isn't, you know, anything new or mind-blowing, but it's clean. Like you see what's happening. I like the editing too. It drives home the point of what's happening. You can understand it. It doesn't treat you like you're an idiot either, like Suicide Squad. But yeah, action, comedy. They have a little bit of romance, sci-fi. They got, you know, we're a family. J Squad, we're a family. They don't say that, you know. Doesn't come out of nowhere. Yeah, it's awesome. The world is awesome. The enemies look awesome. Just everything about it is cool. It's cool. It's a cool movie. That's what I would say. Like, cool factor. Barry's absolutely right. Everything is cool in that movie. It's just likable. I liked it a lot. It's a fun movie. I don't see how anyone can watch it and be like, this movie was garbage. You know, I think there's so many ways to appeal to an audience that I feel like I'm really sad that it didn't do as well as it did. I feel like it's a great film to have fun with, you know. Also well crafted. If you look at all the scenes, like Barry mentioned, all the props, everything, fantastic. Alright, those are my thoughts. I recommend it. I would say probably like 8 Suicide Squads. You know,
8 Suicide
8
Squads.
Suicide Squads. You know? Yeah.
Yeah. I guess for me, I really enjoyed this film. because I had no knowledge going into it.
Mm.
And I literally just watched it on a whim, and it was something incredible. So I guess it made me kind of sad that initially it wasn't well received.
Yeah.
But I think this movie does such a good job in terms of how much care they put into making the sets. And I feel like it's just such a good example of a really cool concept that's brought to fruition extremely well, where it's like, oh, time travel, but less confusing and interesting.
Groundhog Day.
Yes, Groundhog
Day,
right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, I really just enjoy it for what it is, and it's not like it's not like a cinematic masterpiece. And a lot of the scenes, I feel like there's some issue in terms of the way that they're shot and how it looks. It's like sometimes colored a little too dark, and it's a little confusing on what's going on action wise, but
shaky cam, dude.
Yeah, shaky cam. But it's the director, man. But yeah, I just thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's probably up there for one of my maybe like top 10 favorite films.
Wow.
I've probably seen it like 5 times now, 6 times. Even though I know it's not necessarily like the best movie ever created,
definitely.
But it's really freaking good.
It's so fun. Like, it touched me. My heart that's like dying and not there, it sparked something.
Yeah, and I think that we all just like to watch movies for the fun factor.
For fun,
and to enjoy them.
I'm not studying.
Are these emotions I'm feeling?
Yeah, I feel something.
What? I feel things.
I feel things.
But I felt like that movie did such a good job of just taking you along for the ride. And it's such an exciting movie from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so it's absolutely fun.
Don't think it's necessarily like the best movie ever created, but it's still one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Just my thoughts.
No, absolutely. I think Edge of Tomorrow joins Blade Runner 2049, Annihilation, and Pandorum in the graveyard of underappreciated sci-fi films that flopped majorly in box offices. Just nobody sees these movies, and it's actually baffling to me that people don't go to see these movies and go to see like
Suicide Squad,
and whatever other garbage is out there. Like, this is it's just such a great film, and I don't know if it's a cinematic aversion to sci-fi as a genre, or what the hell is going on, but people just don't go to see these movies. This is probably the most palpable of those that I mentioned, and it's still bombed. It just bombed. But it's such a wonderful film. It was made with clear focus and care. It has wonderful performances from all of the actors, especially Tom Cruise. It's one of my favorite performances from him. I generally do not care for Tom Cruise as an actor. I find every role he's in to be really distracting from the movie, you know? Like, you watch the movie and you're like, hey, it's just Tom Cruise. Emily Blunt is absolutely wonderful in every way in this movie.
Yes.
And it's just, I highly recommend it. Highly recommended. I'd probably give it a very, very high 8.
Suicide Squad?
Very solid 8 Suicide Squads, yeah.
I think I would touch a 9.
Wow, okay.
Just 9 Suicide Squads. It's definitely up there for me.
That's a lot of Suicide Squads, just saying, you know.
If it weren't for like all like the little plot contrivances that kind of like irk you in the back of your mind, I'd probably give it a 9. But it's still like they're completely ignorable.
Yeah, they're completely ignorable. They're also
they're
just
small enough
short.
to just be completely dismissed.
It's just like, here. Well, don't look at this. Look at this instead.
This is like, let's just move on.
Yeah, move on.
Move on.
Yeah. I like it though. I like how they don't waste your time. I appreciate that. You know, don't waste my time like Suicide Squad did. This
I
stupid
like that
long
they
dining.
largely respect the audience's
Yeah.
intelligence.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Uh,
All right, that's it. That's our thoughts. That's a lot of Suicide Squads, which means this movie should be on your list to watch. It appeals to a wide
does
audience.
that mean it's our top right now?
I
Then?
think it is our top. You gave it a
think it is
9.
our top.
9 Suicide
Yeah, I
Squad.
give it a
So that's
9.
the highest movie we have right now. Interesting. I mean, the rating scale is arbitrary, so we don't know the value of what one Suicide Squad is. Well, you know the rough value. It's kind of like time travel. We don't
0.
explain it. Yeah, we don't explain. It's 0. So it has no rating.
Don't explain your mechanics.
Exactly. We never explain it. You just have to accept it as is. Yeah. Please check out this movie if you have nothing else to watch. It's amazing. It's fun. It's funny. I think Barry pointed out something that's really great too. Tom Cruise does a great job acting in this film. I liked his character. I hated him and then I liked him, so he did a good job there. Next week,
Doctor Strange.
shoot, I was gonna say we should watch Tropic Thunder, but I think Barry, you brought up a list of great movies that doesn't get enough exposure. So what if we do one of those? If y'all are okay with it.
Sure.
What was the list?
Annihilation,
2049,
Pandora.
2049 and Annihilation.
Yeah. I wanted to see all of those movies. I've only seen bits and pieces of Pandorum. Let's not do that one because that one's kind of scary, right? I don't like scary stuff.
It's really not. It
Really?
really isn't.
Looking at this picture,
There's like
it's
little
freaking out,
bits.
man.
Yeah, it's
there's
kind of
little
freaky.
bits of horror. Like the first maybe
Yeah.
like 30 minutes is horror, but the rest is like
Oh, 30 minutes is a
Mostly
lot, dude.
Damn, 28% Rotten Tomatoes.
dude, like this movie got
Holy.
critically
People hate
destroyed.
this
I don't understand. It's actually great.
movie. Annihilation was 88% though, so very well reviewed.
Yeah, I remember Pandorum because my cousin is studying film and he's very picky about the movies he watches, but he liked that movie a lot. He said it was great, it was interesting. It was an indie film, right? Or a small budget, either way. Not a lot of money going in, and they did something great with the story. I know it's about...
They did a lot with what they had.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
It only made
uh,
10 million in the box office.
that's sad.
Yeah, nobody cares. Just nobody cares about these movies.
Okay,
Annihilation only made 20 mil.
I'm
Blade
I'm
Runner 2049.
I kind of
made
leaning
money.
towards Blade Runner because I want to rewatch Blade Runner because when I watched it the first time,
one or 2049?
both. I'm gonna watch both.
Oh, both.
I couldn't appreciate the first Blade Runner because I was too bored.
That is a perfectly
I think that's perfectly valid.
Yeah.
criticism because the first movie is
It's
really
slow.
boring.
It's
I
slow.
think if I watched it again, I would appreciate it more, and I would have more fun if I kind of invested myself in the world. But it's not fun like Edge of Tomorrow, but it's better created. The world is more coherent, and there's an actual story with like reasons and feelings. Like it explores deep
Emotions.
concepts. Yeah. So I think if I watched it again and then I watched 2049. Just thinking of 2077 now. I think I would have more fun watching it now. I think now that I'm older and more mature, and I've seen Suicide Squad, I think I can appreciate it a lot more. But I'm down for anything. Even Pandorum, even though I hate creepy stuff. But y'all pick.
I'm down for Annihilation or Blade Runner. I think. I don't know if I'm down for Pandora.
Me too. I'm a little creeped.
Pussy?
Yeah. Whoa.
Bro, I hate horror
Whoa.
movies, man.
Maybe.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Like seriously, it really isn't that much of a horror movie.
I was
the
creeped
setup-
out. There's like some scenes where like a monster is
I just don't
hiding.
know anything about it. But
That's perfect. That's perfect.
But
You don't need to know
watching
anything about
the
it.
trailer for Annihilation, I was like, this actually seems like a really good movie.
Annihilation was
Mm-hmm.
well. I'm not gonna color your.
Yeah, just don't say anything. That's fine.
Oh,
I'll say it does not deserve the amount of money that it made. I'll say that.
oh, okay. I was gonna
As
say,
in, like,
yeah. Oh, as in it's too low.
It should have done better.
Okay. I
It
think
should
you're
have
like,
done better.
but yeah, it has Natalie Portman in it, right?
Natalie Portman,
Tessa Thompson.
Tessa Thompson.
Oh, okay, that's a high. See, Natalie Portman. Ever since Thor, I don't like her anymore because her character was so hateable and ruined the movie for me that
so good.
I was just like,
She's
I
so
know she's so
talented,
good.
though.
What's that? Is it
V for Vendetta?
No,
right?
V for Vendetta is awesome, and then is it Garden State? What's that movie? Is it Garden State?
I think Natalie Portman is a
Jackie?
little bit inconsistent for me. Like,
That's
like
true.
some scenes,
Some
I feel like she has like a lot of charisma and gravity.
Black Swan?
Black Swan.
Black Swan?
Okay.
And then once in a while, like I don't know if it's
She turns
directing
into
or she
her
has a
character
bad
from
day.
Thor.
And then you're like, why are you? What is the emotion in this scene? I don't understand. I don't know, but like
Yeah.
Annihilation.
Oh, she was
Yeah.
in Leon.
What?
Garden
Is what
State.
was
I
it?
like the movie a lot.
Leon was her breakout performance, I think. Very
Yeah, she
early
was
on.
child
Was it
actress.
12?
Yeah,
I think.
yeah. she
Holy
was pretty
cow.
young.
12.
Leon, I'm telling you guys, it's definitely worth a watch. It's a good film.
Which of these three films have you guys actually seen? None?
I've
Which
seen
ones?
none, and I've seen parts of
Blade
Pandorum.
49, Annihilation, Pandorum.
I've seen none
I've
of them.
only seen 2049.
Oh, you've seen 2049.
I've seen 2049. I
Okay.
actually rewatched it a couple weeks ago. It was pretty good.
All right, we don't have
Yeah.
to watch it if you want to watch a new one then.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
I don't care.
Yeah, you
I
guys
mean, I
pick.
vote for Pandorum just to go against the grain.
Oh, I think we're gonna
I
have
vote
to
for
watch it.
All right,
What's
Sam, we need to sway the
creepy?
vote. We need to sway the vote.
Yeah,
Sam.
sway the vote. Yeah, pick something else. Pick something else.
I'm down for Annihilation or Blade Runner, or we could even watch Leon if you guys are down.
Leon,
That's
I think
my-
that movie has enough critical acclaim. I think
it's too hyped.
it's too no, not that. I just want to bring more, promote the smaller
Obscure
ones.
films?
Yeah, like Edge of Tomorrow, I feel like
Mm.
deserved a lot more.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think Leon
If you
is held in
wanna
high regard.
If you want to promote a movie that deserves more, I would do Annihilation then.
Yeah.
If you
I mean,
don't
in
want
the-
to watch a spooky movie.
Whoa, I don't like scary things, okay? I hate it. That's why, like, when you recommended it, I was like, oh, I thought this movie was bad. But then since you recommended it, I was considering checking it out. But, you know, I don't like creepy stuff.
Have you seen Event Horizon?
I did. That's why I don't want to watch anymore, you know? I know that movie's tame. I know that movie's tame by...
It's not as bad. It's not even as bad as Event Horizon, I'd say.
Okay.
Pandorum.
Okay.
It's more of like a psychological thriller.
I hate
than it
psychological
is-
thrillers. That scares me more than jump scares. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to convince you guys to watch this movie because it's.
How
It's
about
worth your
we
time.
think about it after next week? You know,
How about if you win Star Wars?
With the Star Wars
if you win
debate.
Star Wars,
Well,
we
you
have to
guys
watch
are watching
Pandora.
Well,
Then you guys are watching
okay, I like
is
this. I like
introducing
this.
Stakes, right?
This is
And then if
stakes. You're right.
We win. We
You're
have to
right.
pick something else.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
what? Battlefield Earth.
No.
Battlefield Earth.
No.
I see. I was like, why would I do that? It's a
No.
lose for me.
It's too much. It's too much.
How about
That's
we
too
make?
far.
How about we make Barry watch Battlefield Earth, and then he has to do a podcast solo, and we're just like reacting to him.
We just make
last.
fun of him.
We just make fun of him for
It'll
having.
just be like this is 90 minutes of.
Yeah. This is worse than Suicide Squad? Question mark.
I don't know. It features some incredible stuff.
all right. Well,
Annihilation is probably going to be pretty good, but that is going to be a really
yeah,
deep dive podcast.
I'm fine with that. You can dive as deep as you want. I'll just be there for just diving on the surface, and then. But all right, you guys
Just
take it away.
Just because of the main themes in the movie and the way everything's presented, it invites you to think a lot about it, which I personally liked.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, if you're
Alright,
leaning
alright.
towards
It
that, I'm
invites
up
you
for it.
It asks the audience to think more about more than the surface level about what they're seeing. So that's my non-spoiler review for you guys.
Oh, I'm down. Isaiah, you down? Because you haven't watched it yet, right?
Annihilation?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down.
All right, let's do that then. A fresh take, 2 fresh takes, and then Barry's deep take. That'll be interesting.
I mean, have you guys seen Solaris?
No.
Let
Solaris.
me
check
Was
that
it
out.
Solaris? I'm sorry, hold on. Is it Solaris?
1971.
That's probably it. And the
With George
A
Clooney?
psychologist sent to a space station orbiting a planet called Solaris to investigate the death of a doctor and the mental problems of cosmonauts in the station.
yeah, there's the original and then there's the remake. It's like old.
Oh.
The original is super old school Russian sci-fi.
Oh, that's interesting. And then there's the 2002 version.
Yeah,
George
the 2002
Clooney.
version. It's not as good, but still okay. All
Okay.
right.
Okay.
That movie also, I think, flopped majorly. it was an interesting film. Again, it invited some deeper thought.
Okay.
If you have time in the week, I would invite you to watch. In addition, like before Annihilation, Solaris.
The original or the remake?
Honestly,
All of them.
either.
Okay, all of them. Watch both.
The remake is probably more palpable, but the original is probably more thematically relevant. And then, like,
Wait,
2002 Space
Okay.
or A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you guys have seen like
Yeah, I
Alien
have.
and,
I've seen it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like Annihilation draws a lot of stuff from
Space
a
Odyssey?
wide. Yeah, from like a Space Odyssey, like Solaris, like other sci-fi.
Okay.
So if you have, like, you don't need to do it, but if you have a little bit of time.
I mean, if it helps me grasp Annihilation better, then I'll watch it. Cause I remember I watched 2001 really young. I think I rented it on VHS actually. I was watching it. I think I was in grade school. And I was like, okay, there's monkeys, there's a giant black stone, I don't get what's happening. All of a sudden they're in a space station, just a bunch of people talking. There's a computer with the red eye. I think he's evil, I'm not sure. And then that's my memories of the movie. So it would help to watch it again. Oh, it's like the Dave. Sorry, I can't do that, Dave. That's all I remembered. The memes. Oh. Alright, I think everyone went to the bathroom. I'm gonna go as well.
Okay.
I'll be right back. Problems of doing a live podcast. This is where you would insert the ad. Be like, alright, now a word from our sponsors.
Shout out to our sponsors, whiskey and beer. Thank you for fueling my life.
No, thank you for giving me life.
Precisely. Solaris in particular is probably a good preface for watching Annihilation.
Arrival. Arrival.
Arrival? That we could do.
That's another movie that I feel like was so good and no one cared about. And like I had a lot of friends talk to me about this movie and they're like, this is the most garbage film I've ever seen. And I was like, but why?
What?
The movie was so good. Makes me sad.
But Arrival made money.
Did it though?
It did.
Really?
It didn't make a lot of money, but it made a respectable profit.
So budget was 47 mil and it made 200 mil. So yeah. 4 times.
It still didn't.
Bad.
I'd say that's about as good as it could have gotten. Because that type of movie is not. It's not like a popcorn crunching like turn your brain
Yeah,
off film
it's
for general
slow.
audiences.
It's slow.
Any movie that invites the audience to think about something is immediately on the back foot. I want you to think about something. I'm done. No, I'm out.
I'm not watching this garbage.
I'm not
Thinking, was it
thinking.
school? Yeah.
What is this? I don't want to learn. I don't want to be challenged.
Oh man,
Fuck
I have to
you.
feel things too? Oh no, that's double
People
no.
liked Interstellar. Like I did not like Interstellar.
Oh really?
I was
not a
entertained by
fan.
Interstellar. I thought it would. It did a lot of great things, and then it was alright.
It's love. It's love. I know it's love.
It's about
Love
family.
connects us
It's about
across space
family.
and time.
Yeah.
Bro, I was dead. After that, I was like, yeah, I'm done with this film.
I mean, if you just delete like the last 10 minutes of the movie, if you just like
yeah.
pretend the movie ends when he's like plummeting into the black hole, it's like standing ovation. Like, oh, oh,
Beautiful film. Well done.
beautiful.
Bravo. Man.
That's like
Like in Toy
Suicide
Story
Squad.
3,
yeah?
if you just cut the film when they're just like falling
About to
towards the
enter the
furnace.
You're like,
You're like,
applaud. You're like,
bravo,
bravo.
Greatest film ever made.
incredible.
You know,
My
that part
God.
was apparently, it scared some kids.
Well, yeah.
I bet it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not a kid anymore, so I can't relate. But I was like, oh. I was like, Nino, this is how garbage is destroyed. Ah, it makes sense now.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I definitely shed a tear in that scene.
Oh, I
like-
didn't feel anything. My heart was gone by then.
Well,
Yeah.
Cold dead heart.
Yeah, my cold died
Toy
heart.
Story 4 with Keanu Reeves. The Keanu songs.
Dude, kaboom.
Bro, it's gonna be so good.
I bet he's gonna be like, we need guns. Guns. Lots of guns.
if he does an homage to John Wick, that'll be amazing.
Or like, whoa, I know Kung Fu. Oh, man.
Whoa. Wait, also,
Yeah.
Spider-Man's coming out.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
July 2nd.
Yeah.
That's really
Netflix
soon,
July
dude.
2nd?
Yeah, July
Really?
2nd. This Tuesday. So the opening weekend would technically be the 4th, 5th, 6th.
I can't
Tuesday's
watch
probably
it.
pre-screenings,
Yeah.
and then the July 4th weekend is the official release.
I'm not gonna watch it on opening
Oh.
because it's too expensive. I'm gonna watch it on. Actually,
Wait,
I think
wait,
all
really? It's
matinee
July
prices are
4th?
$6.
July 2nd is the release, official release, which means that's the Tuesday, which is generally like pre-screening audiences.
Yeah, it really
And
usually
then-
comes out on Friday or like Thursday
No,
midnight,
well,
right?
like wait, the opening weekend is stretched to like Wednesday night now, essentially.
That's weird because
Oh, because it's
in
July 4th
Japan,
here, right?
the release date is the 28th.
Of July?
June 28th.
Oh,
Really?
June. Yeah, like
So
wow.
it's early.
no, that makes sense because I remember like didn't Endgame air first in Korea, so like the bootleg copies had like Korean
Coming out already,
subtitles.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually the first Marvel releases are either in Asia or Australia, timeline-wise.
Interesting.
Dang,
There's
so I might watch
probably
it
marketing
a
reasons.
few days before
Yeah.
you guys.
Don't spoil it. You're like, guys,
I'm gonna spoil
Mysterio's a
it for
bad
you
guy.
guys.
I'm like, I knew that. I knew it.
Mysterio is evil.
I was
Just
like,
like
oh, I never saw that one coming. Mysterio, a bad guy. He looks so good. A wholesome guy.
I mean, he might be the bad guy, but is he the antagonist?
bad guy.
No, he's not the. Maybe Spider-Man isn't even the protagonist. Mysterio is both.
Protagonist.
He's the protagonist and the antagonist. He's his own worst enemy.
Wow. A flawed hero.
Yeah, flawed hero. Tragic
Flawed villain
hero.
I'm looking forward to that film very much.
Me
I think
too.
it'll be very good.
Yeah, I'll try to watch it then.
It's gonna be
Within like the next week, maybe next 2
my
weeks.
big prediction is that it's gonna be the movie that sets up the next 10 years of the Marvel universe. So
This is the new Iron Man 1.
it actually is. I mean, it's a very clear strategy. So
It better do well then.
yeah, it better be
It better be
his
good.
balls.
Wait, was the whole plot with like the old grandma spider lady who was like, can see everything and it's like a chessboard and like positioning heroes and stuff and like is that the new storyline or no?
No,
No, okay.
it's not going to be in there.
I just thought
You're
that
talking
was
about Madam Web.
Madam Web,
and
yeah.
Madam Web is a whole fucking thing about how Spider-Man is not Spider-Man because he's just some kid that had the bad luck of being bitten by a spider, but is actually the result of destiny and of the
someone
web
choosing
of like the web of the universe, whatever it's called, selecting a Spider-Man in every universe. And then they have a role to play, and they must they're like kind of the champion. They're the Shazam of the web of the universe, and Madam Web watches over the multiverse, and it's a fucking mess. Don't worry about it.
Okay. I just remember that in the cartoons and I was like, well, I'm like, I'm okay with this, I think. Question mark. I don't know what's happening, but
yeah, it kind of works, but it's mostly kind of a dumb idea that I really don't expect them to touch on until. I mean, I guess they could because they're touching on the multiverse,
they are. That's what I was thinking with that.
but
Hmm.
I really don't expect it.
Gotcha.
I really don't expect it. It would distract a lot from the character drama of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It could work.
I think that would take away more than it would add.
Like this movie is all about
Yeah.
Spider-Man dealing with the loss of Tony Stark and coming into his own.
Exactly.
And you don't need to introduce like Madam Web and like exploring the multiverse and like the place you would introduce Madam Web is like probably Secret Wars or like the death of one of his girlfriends, whichever version of her.
I remember the TV show where they started introducing clones and everyone was a clone. And like Superman married a clone of Lois Lane, like that kind of stuff. Like, what if they make that for Spider-Man, where like everyone's a clone?
They have.
They have.
He has 2 separate clone sagas.
Dang.
Actually,
Okay.
3.
I guess.
Actually 3.
All right. I'm just thinking that'd be pretty
So
hilarious.
many.
It's like Tony Stark is alive, but it's a clone, and then there's like, well, everyone's a clone now. Mary Jane, she's a clone too. Just married a clone Spider-Man.
So how it works in I actually don't remember the main 616 Marvel version, but in Ultimate Comics, which is what most of the movies are loosely based off of, the Clone Saga in Ultimate Comics was that his dad shows up one day, right? He just shows up and he's like, "Dad, aren't you like super dead?" And he's like, "No, I'm back." And then like that triggers this chain of events, and then his girlfriend, his dead girlfriend, not Mary Jane Watson, but
Is this the Truman Show?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it Gwen Stacy?
I thought she turns into Black Cat.
No, that's Felicia Harding.
Oh.
Maybe Gwen Stacy, but like basically one of his girlfriends shows up as well, and then she becomes Carnage, and he's like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Wait, she becomes Carnage?
And
I
then,
thought it was
shit just starts spiraling all out of control, and then like a spider girl shows up, and he's like, "Who the fuck is you?"
I was like, I'm your female
like,
clone.
It's basically the basic premise of the story is his life just completely falls apart. Right, like all these people that he thought had been dead, or people that he's never met, that like directly fuck with like his core character, just start showing up, and he's like, "What is happening?"
Who made the clones
and,
and why?
So Doc Ock makes the clones.
Oh, okay.
And
Makes
he's
sense.
been employed by like the CIA or something to create basically super soldiers, and he used Spider-Man's DNA as the base to create clones to basically act as like soldiers.
Wouldn't that not work? Because he got bit by a spider and that gave him the powers, and his DNA remains unaltered unless that somehow changes DNA?
Yeah. No, so that's the core premise, is that like he deliberately uses his DNA because he could have done it with like Captain America or something, but he's like, this is just my work. It just so happens that it ruins your life in every single way.
Okay.
I was like, he's like, yeah, I'm totally fucking with you here. And as it turns out, all the clones die because they're genetically unstable. Because yeah, he's not the result. It's not from his mutant factor, or whatever. It's because he has like this spider venom in him, this radioactive spider
Yeah.
venom that's making him Spider-Man, and they all just die.
Wow.
Like slowly, like his dad clone dies.
It's
So
Like-
so
dad
dark.
dies twice.
Like
Yeah.
the I believe his girlfriend clone dies.
But what
but the
happens to Carnage
surviving
then?
one,
Yeah.
yeah, he just dies, and he's like, oh my god. But one survives, and that's
Uh-huh.
the direct clone of him, but female.
Oh, it's a female
So
Spider-Man.
female Spider-Man.
So that's where Spider Girl comes from in the Ultimate Universe. Is a female clone of him, and it's kind of fun actually.
Wait,
'Cause-
what? That's disturbing though. Why would Doc Ock make a female version of Spider-Man? Just saying, just.
Well, he's
sorry.
just like messing around with different versions, like sequencing the
Oh,
DNA.
we'll see which one's better.
Yeah, like
Okay.
like he makes like a Scarlet Spider. He makes like the four-armed Spider-Man. You know, that comes out of this. Like he makes like a super like fucked up Spider-Man that's just like got a melted face.
Bizarro.
Yeah, like Bizarro Spider-Man, and then he makes Spider Girl
Hmm.
or Spider Woman or whatever, and
Mhm.
and she ends up being the one that survives, and she sticks around for a while, and it's super funny because she ends up like dating a bunch of Peter's friends. He's like,
Oh.
this is incredibly weird.
Yeah, they're awkward. It's like.
You know, like she like dates like
Brock?
no, like Fantastic Four, Human Torch,
Oh, okay.
because they're friends in Ultimate Comics, and he's like, dude, you're dating me. What the fuck?
Wait, that's pretty funny.
That's pretty funny. Yeah.
Yeah, it actually is kind of cool. But yeah, this whole Clone Saga, and they did it in 616 main Marvel back in I think the 1980s. And actually, right now they're actually or not now. Oh, I don't remember which storyline they're going through again now, but they redid it again recently with all different Marvel.
Wait,
like a year ago.
wasn't there a story arc where Spider-Man's like he's mutating because of his spider powers and he grows like, 4 arms?
Yeah, he becomes like the Man Spider.
The Man Spider, yeah, not Spider-Man, Man Spider, and then
Man
he
Spider.
gives it to Vulture, and then Vulture turns into Man Spider, but Vulture.
I don't remember that part, but I remember
Okay.
he was working with like Doc Connors, the Lizard, to try to cure it, and a bunch
Yeah,
of
he
stuff
literally turned
happens.
into Man Spider.
Yeah, and he had like 4 arms. He was
Yeah,
like,
I don't think that's how it works. Like, I guess it makes sense that humans think there has to be 8 limbs, so just give him 4 more arms.
yeah.
How do you even
It's
hide
super
that?
weird.
Yeah, how do you even? You're just like hugging yourself and you look pregnant. Because you got, humans don't have 6 arms, so you gotta hide the 4 arms somehow, right?
Something like that. I would probably not expect them to do Man Spider anytime soon.
The Man
They
Spider would
would
be hilarious.
they would probably do something like introduce Norman Osborn or
That's overplayed, dude. Let's get rid of the Osborns,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but he's like he's a pretty major villain in Marvel Comics as a whole, as is Doc Ock, Dr. Octopus.
Let's
They're
get rid
both
of that
pretty-
guy. Let's just bring in Kingpin,
You know, Doc
just
Ock?
bald guy, just big bald guy,
I mean, they're pretty big shakers and movers in the Marvel universe as a whole.
Yeah, I know. You just like, oh, how many times are we gonna go through the cycle where like, oh, this guy's his friend, and all of a sudden he's a villain. We didn't see it coming. It's
The cool thing about
Yeah.
Spider-Man's villains is, and it's partly just because he was so popular that all of his like Rogues Gallery crossed over with a bunch of other people, is that they cross over a lot. So
Hmm.
if they very carefully write this, they could say, okay, we're gonna introduce the Kingpin, and we can roll that over into like Daredevil and like Iron Fist, and these guys, or like the Prowler, or like Moon Knight. Oh my god, I would love for them to
Moon
do
Knight?
a Moon Knight movie.
Like Sailor Moon or like
No, he's fucking Moon Knight, and he's a guy that dresses in like a white costume with like a white cape, and he throws little crescent moons at people. And you're like, why would you wear white?
so like a
Why would you wear
ninja.
white in New York, rolling through alleyways and rooftops.
I gotta look up a picture of
Really?
Moon Knight.
Moon Knight. It's so goofy that it's great.
That's pretty funny.
But like Spider-Man's like whole world gallery is so iconic. Like they have like Silver Sable, which is a love interest. You have like Black Cat, Felicia Harding.
Yeah, you weren't joking.
It's just
He's wearing all white. Throws moons at people.
Yeah, it's just he just throw moves at people. You're like, that's his whole character. That's it.
Interesting.
Like that's a character that you can throw in, and like you just as like a bit character, like the Shocker in the last.
Yeah,
last
dude, I
Spider-Man.
love the Shocker, man. He's wearing yellow and just shocks
Yeah, it's
people.
like-
It's a villain I can
He
get
just shows
behind.
up, he's like, "Who are you?
Yeah.
I'm Moon Knight. What
No,
do
I'm
you
the
do?
Shocker.
I throw moons." Like, okay, let me just punch you in the head
Okay.
real quick. Oh man. But yeah, like
That's
they
pretty
can
funny.
introduce these villains and have them roll over into more Superman films. Like there's a lot of his villains are villains for like Luke Cage, Punisher, Daredevil, and it's a very smart way of branching, like re-expanding the Marvel universe after having murdered half of them. So yeah, I would not be surprised if Mysterio is not the only villain we find in this movie.
Bad guy.
Antagonist.
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 Antipasta.
Antipasto.
Antipasto, yes. It's green. How can you trust it? You don't know what it is.
What I would love to fucking see, because they're in Europe, is like Captain Britain.
Is it a Captain America?
Captain Britain.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, that's a thing.
That's a thing? Wait, I thought you were just
Yeah.
being smart there, Woody. Oh no, his uniform is
real
the
thing.
flag.
Yeah, he's real.
British flag. He's real. Okay, I'm learning things.
It's a real thing. It's so dumb. It's so stupid. I would love for him to just show up and then just like be in a scene for a minute and just nobody cares. Because that's how his character is.
Wait, he doesn't have a shield though, does he?
No, he's powered by magic.
He's not a super soldier like Captain America?
I don't remember all of his lore, but I think literally Merlin gives him his powers. And you're like, whatever, dude. You're trying, like, nobody cares.
Whatever.
No one
The
cares.
first time I'm hearing of this guy.
Captain Britain. He works with Sword, which is the space version of S.H.I.E.L.D., which also nobody cares about.
Okay.
Sword.
Sword and Shield.
Sword and S.H.I.E.L.D. You
Got
get
it. Yeah,
You get
Pokemon?
it?
Pokemon
You get
game? Yeah.
it?
Yeah, okay.
That's also where Carol Danvers spends most of her time is in the Sword in
The
space,
sword. Oh.
which just nobody cares about. It's like where you put characters that nobody cares about. Sword, the
I
Defenders
see.
of Space. It's like the space something division.
Oh wait,
You know, it's
Nightcrawler
true.
was in Sword?
Listen, like if we're gonna deep dive into comic books, this is gonna take literally the next week.
Who's Phoenix 3? Is that the third iteration of Phoenix?
There are a couple different iterations of Phoenix. The thing with the Phoenix Force is the Phoenix Force. There was only one Phoenix Force in the entire multiverse. Okay,
Uh-huh.
and it's basically the avatar of all the energy of everything that's ever lived and ever will live. Like it's basically the
Life
avatar
Force?
of life itself,
Okay.
right? In the entire multiverse.
Okay.
And there's only one, but it can split off. It can basically splinter off into different entities. And Jean Grey was the Phoenix Force at one point.
That we know, yeah.
Yeah, obviously, Cyclops. A few other people.
Cyclops, okay.
The lady that turns the psychic that turns herself into a diamond. I don't remember her name.
Diamond Girl.
I
Diamond
feel like
Girl.
a living diamond. Yeah, she was in Days of Future Past.
Oh, okay, I think I remember, yeah.
She gets yeah, but
Uh-huh.
like, so the Phoenix Force gets distributed to different people, and like it has wildly. It's kind of their hand wavy way of saying that, like, even if they are the Phoenix, they don't necessarily have all the Phoenix's powers. So it kind of retcons the fact that, like, the Phoenix Force in some writing, like, just flies by like a galaxy and like eradicates life in that galaxy.
Oh.
Or
That's
like
nice.
in another story where like they fight
That's
like the
nice.
Hulk or like Captain Britain and they just lose, and you're like, that doesn't make any sense.
But how?
Yeah.
But how?
Captain
that's
Britain
that.
looks so dumb.
Yeah, he looks so dumb. There's a bunch of like, this is from an era of comic books where they're just like, it's just a hero of the week, villain of the week. There's like Captain Britain. There's like Captain Mexico, Captain Canada.
Are these real?
Like that's not necessarily their names, but that's what they were.
Oh,
There's
okay,
like
okay. I gotcha.
Captain Russia.
You mean Red Skull?
No, he's from Germany. You fucking
I
racist.
know. I'm just grouping up all the war villains, in World War One, World War Two, just into one category,
He's called the Red Guardian. I'm sorry, the Red Guardian.
Okay. Same thing.
And again, nobody cares.
Yeah. I don't care about. I don't care.
Why should they?
Nobody cares. Yeah, it's just like this long list of weird heroes and villains that are kind of around, and once in a while they just pull them off the shelf and like write them into a story, and then they're immediately gone again because nobody cares. Like like the Gladiator, or any of the Eternals, really. They just show up sometimes. You're like, oh,
wait,
okay.
was Gladiator just literally a gladiator?
The Gladiator?
Yeah.
Imagine Ronin with a mohawk.
Okay, gotcha.
That's it. That's it. Except like a lot more powerful. He was like a Herald of Galactus at one point, I think. He's like super strong. He's one of the super unique pantheon of Marvel heroes that's basically Superman.
Basically Superman, alright.
There's a lot of them.
Captain Marvel?
Captain Marvel, Gladiator, the Sentry.
Silver Surfer?
No, not Silver Surfer.
Silver guy who surfs?
No, there are a bunch of them. Okay, Thor.
Okay.
Thor
is Raiden with a hammer.
There's like Power Princess, which is literally just Wonder Woman.
Okay.
Yeah, but there are a lot of them. Hyperion and Sentry are probably the two main ones. Hyperion is literally just Superman. Like, that's just what he is. He's literally Superman. And like every single
Batman, huh? Where's Batman?
Batman? I don't know. I think they have some parables for him, but like mostly they're just Superman. Just like a lot of different versions of Superman and Wonder Woman.
I want a Batman parallel. Just call him Man-Bat.
And I don't remember if Deadpool was originally making fun of DC or if DC was originally making fun of Marvel. I feel like Deadpool was making fun of Deadshot or whatever in
Suicide Squad.
Deadshot. Yeah. Like it was literally just a parody of that character.
Oh, everything comes back to Suicide Squad. Oh my god.
Everything comes back to Suicide Squad.
Full circle. Yeah, and then it goes again because it's a circle, so it just keeps going.
Suicide Squad is DC's attempt at doing the Sinister
Avengers?
Six,
Oh, I was gonna say
which was like
Avengers.
Doc Ock, Norman Osborn, the Shocker, Sandman, and
Okay,
the other guy that nobody particularly cares about.
I can understand the villains you mentioned, but the Shocker is just literally a thug who can shock people with his fists. What the heck is he doing there?
Yeah, I don't actually. Maybe it's not the Shocker. Maybe it's Electro.
Electro.
Oh, Spider-Man's villains suffer from massive power scale issues, where you have like Electro, who's basically like a slightly less powerful Thor, and then you have the Shocker, who's
Yeah.
basically a guy with a taser.
It's just tase fists. What?
And it's just hilarious. It's kind of charming, really, because like sometimes Spider-Man's fighting a guy who's literally he's just a guy with a gun. And you're like, oh, okay. And then the next issue, he's fighting like Sandman, who's theoretically one of the most powerful beings out there, because you're like unkillable.
I'm just saying.
You're just a giant, like mass. You're fucking the Tsunakage from Naruto.
Oh yeah. Dude, I
The
forgot
living
about Craven,
sand.
dude. Just guy with whip and long hair.
Yeah.
He doesn't have powers, right? He's just like super manly
Like-
man.
Like there are a bunch of villains that Spider-Man faces up against, where it's just like a guy in a shitty costume with like a gun or like some gimmick. And recently they've pulled that out a lot more. Like they're a lot more tongue in cheek about it. Like where they'll pull these old characters out and
They're like,
Spider-Man's
"Remember him?"
Are you kidding? Are you kidding me? And he just punches them in the head and they're done.
It's like that guy in Indiana Jones who's like doing all these sword moves, and he's looking at him and then just shoots him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's my expectation. Is they're probably gonna roll in a lot of villains, or at least one major villain, in addition to Mysterio in this film.
Wait, there's a Sinister 12.
Yeah, there's like a Sinister Six. The Squadron Supreme was what I was talking about earlier, which is literally just the Justice League.
Okay.
It's literally the Justice League.
There's a Sinister
have-
7.
They have Hyperion. They have Power Princess, who is Wonder Woman. They have Nighthawk, who I guess is Batman.
Okay.
They have the
Nighthawk.
Wizard, who is the Flash.
The Wizard sounds like you're peeing.
Yeah, it's just like it's literally just making fun of the Justice League,
Okay.
and they just show up sometimes. I don't know, man. It's weird stuff. It's weird stuff when you go through the entire Marvel chronology. It's why I'm kind of terrified for Marvel, because at some point they're going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel, right?
Yeah.
As far
Shocker.
as well, they already had the Shocker.
Yeah.
And they
I'd
proved
say
it
he's
with
the
the
bottom.
Shocker that
Yeah.
they can write in like a fucking dumpster tier villain and make it at least funny, you know. But at some point they're gonna be like pulling out like the Captain Britons, or like
Was Rhino in Spider-Man? The guy in the Rhino suit? Just Juggernaut,
yeah.
but not Juggernaut?
Rhino. Or like Sauron.
Sauron.
Who is not
Yeah.
Sauron from Lord of the Rings. He's a mutant whose power is literally that he looks like a pterodactyl, but he can't actually fly because his bones are super brittle.
What?
And he's just essentially completely useless.
So it's a pterodactyl that
Oh,
can't fly. That's
okay.
awesome. Okay.
Yeah, he's literally useless in every way, and like every single story he's in, like it's like knocked off a building. He's like, "Oh, I can't fly. I'm gonna break all my bones here," and then he does.
Okay.
They're just like these joke characters. And they're all terrible. At some point, they're gonna start having to pull from like the deepest, darkest reaches of the Marvel cupboard, and I'm not looking forward to that day.
Man.
Do you think they'll run out in like the next couple of years, or like?
No, we'll be like suffering from like dementia by the time this happens, but but it's a very real fear.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll just reboot everything, I guess.
Iron Man's back alive. Except he's a clone. It's not a real Iron Man. It's a clone Iron Man.
Digital Robert Downey Jr.
Exactly. Hologram.
Holographic Robert Downey Jr. They've probably scanned him for his likeness by now, so that they can just
Right.
recreate him.
Dude, that's kind of a
That
scary
will.
future. Like, you don't even own your own appearance. Disney does. They're like, in the future, you have to sign over your rights to your likeness.
Well, they scanned Stan Lee at his request so that they can put him in cameos until the end of the heat death of the universe.
That's kind of creepy.
A little bit, but it was at his express wishes, which makes it okay.
Yeah,
That makes it
that's
okay, I
fine.
guess. I guess. Was it though? What if it was at gunpoint?
Like, from what I've read,
Yeah.
like Stan Lee was so delighted to do these little cameos
Oh, okay.
in
That's
every
good
single
then.
movie.
That's
Like, he was
awesome.
literally keeping him alive at the end.
That's so sad.
That's kind of
It's
sad, yeah.
actually a little bit sad because like his wife passed away, and like typically when something happens with like that happens with a senior citizen, like they are not long for the world, right? That kind of
Yeah.
emotional blow. And like he held on for a while just because he's like, I want to finish out these next few films. I want to be there for the creation of this. And like he got scanned in, like he did some lines for them, and then he passed away.
Mm.
Like he's a guy that clearly was just so delighted to see all these characters that he had written and helped create like come to life on the silver screen. And props to him because like he was, as far as I'm aware, 100% for like this digital thing where they could
Okay.
put him into movies. Because like when directors are interviewed about Stanley, they're like, I had so much respect for him, you know, like I love to talking to him about these old stories, but every time I try to start a conversation, Stanley would just be like, yeah, but what about this cameo in this movie?
Oh, okay.
I mean, he
Alright.
clearly had a lot of fun with it, which is great.
Yeah, I like this cameo in Ragnarok where he cut Thor's hair. It's like, please, you shall not touch my hair. Like, please, kind sir.
Alright. I think I'm gonna head out.
Alright, well, it's
Yeah.
a good place to end.
Yeah.
Little sad place.
That was a good minute. You in Tokyo now?
Yeah, I've been for like a week now. Yeah. It's aight.
Aight? Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty boring.
Turn into a
but,
weeb yet?
absolutely not.
Gonna watch the animes?
No. This is my 6th time in Japan.
Wait,
Have yet to become a
is
weeb.
anime like prevalent? It's like everywhere in Japan. I feel like it's not, because when I saw interviews with adults, I feel like they didn't watch anime, and it's like bigger here than it is there. Unless you're
No,
talking about
it's still bigger in
kids.
Japan.
No,
But like
it's not mainstream, right?
No,
It's
it's
big?
mainstream. It's
Is
just
it?
not. It's not like people watch anime nonstop, but like you'll see like posters and advertisements and like promotional stuff all over the place.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you'll
Okay.
see people reading manga on the trains and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty
It's just
normal.
Like
part of
adults
everyday
or
life.
kids?
Yeah, like adults.
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, oh, that's hentai. That's not.
Oh, really? Wait, that's something else.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
oh,
pretty
I've
funny.
read that Dojin.
Okay.
Dude,
Interesting.
have you done Mario Kart? Mario Kart?
No, dude, no.
Do it.
No, bro.
Be the
I always-
evil in the world.
No, I refuse.
I did it. It was so much fun.
No
It was
regrets.
so much fun. No regrets. It was so much fun, dude. Oh
You
my
play like
God.
real Mario Kart?
No, we're like you get into like a costume and you
Uh-huh.
drive go-karts through the streets of Tokyo.
Is that
And you
legal?
like go.
Yeah,
It's illegal-ish.
Okay,
it's
okay.
legal-ish. Yeah,
Legal-ish. That's good enough, right?
And it's not like you're going through like little side streets. Like you go through Shibuya Crossing, you go through like every major city center area.
Can't you get hit by cars if you're not careful?
Absolutely.
Absolutely,
Okay.
it's super sketch.
All right,
But
all right.
it's complete. Oh, it was so worth it. It's so much fun. And like
How
little
does that
kids
even
and
work? Where do
tourists.
you go to get the go-kart?
Well, it's a company that does it.
Oh, okay. Do you sign like a
Yeah,
waiver where it's like, if I die, I won't sue you?
something like that. Like
Probably, yeah.
Probably.
it's like it was like $70 or something for like an hour of go-karting through,
Mhm.
which is actually not that bad.
It's not
I
that
was
bad,
expecting it to be
yeah.
more expensive.
Yeah, it's kind of similar here, but it's more ghetto. It's like a track, indoor track that you drive around.
Yeah, but it was so much fun. It was actually so much fun. Highly recommend.
How do they know that you're driving for an hour though? Can you just like drive more and then come back?
Well, no, they have a guide that's with you. You have to follow the guide.
it's like a guided tour, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I just thought they let you free, and I was like, this can go wrong in so many ways.
So many bad
You're
things
like,
that can
I'm like
happen.
lost. I'm driving around. You like flip over, car runs you over. Like,
I definitely got separated from the group by a red light at some point.
yeah. What about red lights too? You know, like what do? You just like
And
catch up to
they're
them?
like a couple blocks ahead of me, and like they're all staring back at me, and I'm like, no.
What am I
Like,
supposed to
what
do?
am I supposed to do? Red light, drive through a red light. You get hit by a car. Like,
I'm
just
just like
imagine the
looking
edge of
at all the
tomorrow.
cars and pedestrians around me.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's up?
It's like, hey,
Konnichiwa, gaijin desu.
Guys, yes.
you're like,
I
it's
only
me,
ever
Mario.
I only ever see freaking
Yeah?
like tourists doing
It's
that.
always tourists.
It's always tourists.
I'm sure the average Japanese person would be completely mortified to do something.
Yeah, they're like, you stupid
Absolutely.
gaijins, you can die doing this.
No, just the shame.
The shame. Like, we don't talk to
it's
them.
like the embarrassment is part of what makes it wonderful. Just wallow in it. It's like sexually pleasurable.
I don't know, Barry. I don't know. They're kind of explain some things. I would just go for sushi, honestly.
In Japan?
Yeah.
The sushi was great, but like,
Yeah.
honestly, it was a lot more fun to just meet people in Japan and hang out.
Like Japanese people or like other gaijins?
Yeah, Japanese people.
Oh, they talk to you? I figured they would be too shy.
Listen.
Yeah.
People have said that music is the language of the world. No.
Oh,
Alcohol is the language of the world.
Absolutely.
okay, okay. I see where you're going with this.
And if you walk into a hole-in-the-wall bar that is like barely, if ever, serviced foreigners, and they're like, "Oh my God, I don't speak English. Nihongo okay desu ka?" Like, I speak booze. I would like a round of Yamazaki for everybody here. And they're like,
hey, hey,
Yeah,
on the house.
that's all you need. That's all you need.
Okay, interesting.
If you're willing to meet people halfway, like regardless of what people will say to you about how reserved Japanese people are, whatever,
They just need the alcohol.
That's what you need to booze.
Alcohol,
They
or
just
like
need the alcohol.
or like some common ground or something like that. Like we were in Hiroshima and at like a sports bar for like the Hiroshima Carp like game was on, and we wanted to go to the game, but it was sold out. We were like flabbergasted. This game was sold out. We could not get seats, so you just went to a nearby sports bar and ran into like some people like, and my buddy that I was with bought a carp cap. I would have bought one, but like baseball caps do not fit my bulbous misshapen head.
Just got to cut it. You gotta cut duct tape like 3 together in some weird shape.
Like I've literally walked into like at Sox Park, like White Sox Park. I've walked into like their main baseball hat shop, and like the the workers there greet you like they're like, "Hey, welcome," like with a smile, and then they're like their eyes do like the little shift up to my skull, and they're like, "Oh,
Like, oh.
you're gonna have a really,
Oh.
you're gonna have a really hard time." I'm like, okay, understood.
Did you say oh? Like John Wick, were like, oh, they killed his dog and stole his car. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I didn't get a cap, but my buddy
Okay.
did, and he's like the whitest white guy you'll ever meet. And a couple of the Carp fans just came up to our table and started a conversation.
Japanese or English?
Cup number one.
Oh, no. Okay.
It was Jinglish.
Oh, it's English? Alright.
Yeah, he tried his best. He relied on me and my limited understanding of Weeb to translate the bits that he couldn't get.
I love
Worked
Chinglish.
out alright.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I love Konglish too. It's great. It's like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Combine it together, you get gibberish.
Yeah, that's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Alright.
Go do some Mario Kart.
No, I think I'm gonna go get some Kikatsu. That's always the
Okay.
move.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Alright. I had some sushi
Alright.
today. I'll see you later, dude.
Nope, sushi's bad.
No, what are you saying? It's so
Bye,
good.
bye.
Okay, bye. You're wrong, but bye. Alright, that was Isaiah. He
Alright.
left doing stuff in Japan, man. Alright, he's typing something. Oh, he says sushi is bad, don't add me. Gotta add him now. Multiple times.
I mean, the average sushi is not great, but it's fun. The main thing that I enjoyed most in Japan was probably the ramen and the the
Wait.
beef bowls or the pork bowls. Oh,
What
they're so
kind of
good.
ramen though? Miso?
No, like the I want to say Kyushu style.
What's Kyushu style? Is that like salt based or
It's like
soy?
the pork bone broth.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Because I am not a fan of miso ramen. I'm not a fan
It's
of.
a lot richer.
Yeah, it's a lot richer, a lot saltier, right? A lot like there's like an oil in there,
It's a
fat,
lot worse
right?
for you in every way.
It's delicious though. Like I love that.
Yeah, it's so good.
So good.
It's got like the chashu, like the pork.
The
Oh,
fatty
that's great.
pork on the top, right? Like
Yeah,
okay. Now you're talking
and
my
it's so
language.
cheap.
How much?
Every person I'd ever spoken to about Japan was like, "Oh, it's so expensive there." And I got there, I'm like, "It's like $8 for all of this food, or like $5." And I'm like, "This is actually cheaper than the U.S. to eat a meal."
That sounds like Korea. Korea's real cheap for food.
And you're like, for $8, I could barely get a McDonald's meal, right? Barely
You
at this
can't.
point.
You gotta order from the dollar menu. You know, this
Yeah,
quantity over quality at that point.
like you could get such a great meal for like less than $8 in Japan. It's incredible.
Oh, I think they probably meant like the cost of living, like the housing is probably more expensive, but the food.
The food is cheap.
Yeah.
I guess the housing is the expensive
Yeah, I
part.
think that's where they're
Yeah, it
going
makes
at
sense.
with their. I think that's similar with Korea because living space is limited. It's a tiny country.
Oh, the Airbnbs were pretty cheap. Like, admittedly, we looked for cheaper places.
That's a pro tip.
Some of them, a couple of them, were legit cheap places.
Like,
But several of them
okay.
were
yeah.
really nice.
Hmm.
Like in Hiroshima, I
Yeah.
don't know if it's just Hiroshima, housing is cheap as hell, but like, dang, it was like $70 a night total, split between like you could have split that between 6 people because that was the size of the place.
So like
Up to, I
10
think,
10
8.
bucks per person?
Yeah, per night.
Holy
It
cow,
was
dude,
ridiculous.
that's cheap in Japan.
Yeah. Whereas like in like Roppongi, Tokyo, for what was literally a repurposed utility closet,
Yeah.
that's literally what it was. Okay, like the space that you would have your water heater, that's where we were sleeping.
I have one behind me. I know how big it is. You can fit like one person comfortably, maybe
Yeah,
if
we
they're
fit,
small.
We fit 2 people into this.
Holy
It
cow.
had like a kitchen and a bathroom. The bathroom was actually decent, But that place was like $170 a night.
Wait, Roppongi, is that the shopping district or no? I don't know Japan. I know one of them is
Roppongi
yeah.
is both the best and worst part of Tokyo.
Okay. Gotcha.
It was like a really high crime area, and then like it got better, and then it got slightly worse, and then like Roppongi Hills is probably the premium spot in Tokyo. It's where
Is
all
it like
the super
Gangnam in
rich people
Korea?
are.
Like super
Yeah,
bougie?
it's like Gangnam, yeah.
Okay.
Super, like Lambos, Maserati,
Holy
like
cow.
all the super hyper luxury cars.
Why?
are
You
rolling out
can't.
of
What are
there.
you gonna do in Japan? You can't really drive around.
Yeah, I know. It's
Just go
retarded,
look
but
at
like
it.
that's Roppongi Hills, but like
Okay.
Roppongi proper is like
Yeah.
super shady. Like it's almost like a semi-red light district. There's like tons of like strip clubs and stuff
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
Like lots of Africans
Uh-huh.
inviting you into like strip clubs and bars, which you should not do. Top tip: if a shady African guy invites you into a bar in Japan, don't follow him.
Interesting. They're there for work though, right? And that's the job they got?
That's their job, but like
Okay. I
a
guess
good portion of those are scam bars.
okay. Yeah, I remember you mentioned that before. That
Yeah, it
sounds
was
like
like
I forgot which country. There's the Thailand. There's a country where everyone's lying and they'll rip you off unless you know the value of everything.
China.
No, not China. No,
No, it's definitely China.
that's China, really?
It definitely happens in China all the time. Everyone, if you ever go to China
In
and you're
Thailand?
not like
Yeah.
in a super duper metropolitan upright area, assume that everybody's trying to rip you off.
Like the marketplaces, I know you gotta haggle, right? That's a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
haggling is a massive thing in China, but
In
like,
Korea too, supermarkets, like the street markets.
a lot of stuff is like a straight up scam.
Hmm.
Like they'll take you to like a tea ceremony that costs like $1,000 US, and you're like, go fuck yourself.
Okay. They're like, oh, Gaijin got a lot of money.
Yeah.
Try this
Exactly.
sushi, and it's like not even fish.
Yeah.
It's like a rat they caught. It's like, why is this sushi?
And like
Yeah.
even some of the tour groups that go through China that are run by Chinese companies are like shady like that. Like they'll take you to like, yeah, it's just not the best.
I actually don't like touristy stuff. I want to eat the food that regular people eat there, and I just want to talk to some regular folks, see how life is like there.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
like my favorite part about visiting Japan is just like hanging out with regular folks. A regular, like, this is where you would go for lunch when
Exactly,
you're
yeah.
like
I don't wanna-
working there, living there.
Yeah, like I don't want to do all this touristy. Like that stuff interests me the least because it's not how regular people there live, and you know all the stuff that they do. Not even close, and I want to kind of experience that regular life because that's what interests me. I don't know about other people. I don't like my parents though. They love that touristy stuff, man. They love it.
It's a
Yeah.
lot more digestible. It's a lot
It
easier.
is. You don't have
To
to talk
find-
to anyone. You just like
Yeah.
look at it and you're like, oh, that's cool, and then things are handed to you bit by bit. The experience itself.
Yeah, to get the local experience, you have to go digging.
Yeah.
You have to put yourself into situations where you're not sure how it's gonna turn out.
Yeah.
You're just
Yeah.
like we were just walking down the street. We saw this tiny little sign that said "Bar No Plan." We're like,
What?
we don't have any plan.
Okay.
Well, let's go here.
All right.
And like, there was nobody in there, and the bartender was literally surprised that anybody had walked in. It's like, oh my god,
Oh, your people.
customers. Foreigners. Oh god.
It's like, what do we do?
And then it ended up being super fun.
I think it's
Those
more
are the-
fun with the crowd, though. I feel like if I was by myself, I would not want to do that.
Yeah, Japan is a top tip.
Yeah.
Solo is actually probably a great way to go.
Oh, really?
It's the cheapest way to go because you
Okay.
can stay at like hostels, which are actually super duper cheap.
Okay.
They're super duper cheap. It's like maybe $50 a night.
Mm.
Or potentially cheaper depending on where you go.
What if you just like ask around and do it? Like, hey, can I stay at your place for tonight?
I mean, you can stay at like net cafes or just like whatever, but
Okay.
like one person, two people, three people is actually pushing it. Because a lot of the restaurants and places, like finding seating for three is actually impossible.
Really? It's like,
It's actually
is it
impossible because
crowded
of how
or
small
there's
the
no? Oh, it's small.
there's just
Okay.
no seating.
Okay.
Like there's seating for maybe like 10, 15 people.
I
But yeah,
see.
it's or the other way to do it would be like in a family or like a bigger group setting where you're just all like moving as a group. But that presents its own challenges because of what I mentioned.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Anyway, yeah, this was a pretty fun podcast. I feel like we covered the movie pretty well, and then a broad
Dude,
range of other bullshit.
we did cover Spider-Man and his crappy villains, and we went to talk about Japan. It's great. I could probably just literally cut that part out and put it into its own podcast. I won't do that.
Well,
Yeah.
you could, if you're just doing the movie podcast, I'd probably cut that out, and we can focus on like travel and stuff later on at another date.
Maybe, I'll toy around with that. I'll see. I'll leave it as is because I feel like the beginning is the most important part, and see if it works better. And if I see that people are like tuning out when they hit the travel part, then I'll cut it out. But for now, let's see how it goes. So we should watch Venom. I heard it was pretty bad, and
The one with Bane.
yes, Bane Venom. Tom Hardy. Is it Tom Hardy? I think so. Anyways, let me check out the score real quick.
Yeah, I heard it was not like kind of mediocre, I guess.
Wait, there was it? Oh, it's not. It's about snakes. I was like, there was a previous Venom movie? I don't remember this. Well, 29% critic score, 81% audience score? Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Wow. I mean, it's gonna be better than Suicide Squad, that's for sure. Like, that's a given.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a given.
That's a given. Alright, you know what? Let's just call it an end there.
Yeah.
We'll wrap up. So that was the end of episode 7. We covered Edge of Tomorrow. If you want to hear more about that movie, please rewatch the VOD, or I'm gonna upload it to YouTube. The first, I would say, 2.5 hours to talk about that movie. It's great. It's a fantastic movie. Highly recommend checking it out if you have nothing else to watch. Fantastic. And then we talked about Spider-Man. We talked about Japan. A lot of tangents. But yeah, highly recommend it. Alright, this was episode 7 of the Pointy Hat Cast. Our umbrella is the bad cast. That's like the thing where I'm gonna stick all my podcasts in that we're doing right now. Alright, with that, we're signing off. So I'm Sam, Ducky O'Brien on Twitch. Got co-host Isaiah, he eat it out. He's in Japan right now. We got Barry here.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Yes, and then with that, we'll see you next week.
Stay pointy.
Yes, our sign off. Stay pointy.
Stay pointy,
Stay
everyone.
pointy, alright. If you don't catch that reference, you gotta watch that Thor Ragnarok episode. Alright. With that, we're off.